Chapter 12:26. Read 3:36. Third Mo was shocked when he heard her words. He took 2 steps forward and grabbed her wrist to feel it. Sure enough, he couldn't feel any spiritual energy fluctuations from her. How could it be gone? Are you injured in there? He probed again, but the result was the same. However, other than falling down when she came out, there were no other injuries on her body. How could her spiritual power disappear just like that? When I came out, I was in seclusion. At that time, my spiritual energy was still fine. Why did it disappear after coming out? She was a little incredulous. This was too strange. This was too horrifying. Don't worry, we don't know what's going on with you. Go ask Lin. Third Mo said, he should know what's going on. Sima Yue suppressed the fear in her heart and tried to calm herself down. At this moment, 2 people flew over from afar and stopped in front of them. They bowed to Sima Yue and said, Miss Yue, our sect master has asked us to bring you over. Sima Yue recognized their attire. It was similar to what Lin was wearing. Knowing that he sent people over, she remembered that he said he would welcome her when she came out. She nodded and said, coincidentally, I also have something to ask him. Please lead the way. Because it was him, it was not surprising that he knew she would be here after coming out. The 2 men flew them for about an hour and finally arrived at the mountain where they had entered the wonderland. Lin stood at the peak of the mountain. The wind blew his silver hair and white clothes. His pale side profile made him look as though he would ascend to immortality at any moment. The child, who had already grown up, stood beside him, his eyes flashing with great worry. Sima Yue and Third Mo walked over. When he saw Sima Yue, joy flashed across Xiao Tong's eyes. It was as if she had brought him hope. Lin turned around, looked at her, and said with a faint smile, You're out. You don't look well, Sima Yue said. Cough, cough. Lin coughed, and Xiao Tong hurriedly went forward to support him. He waved his hand, indicating that he was fine, but his increasingly pale face said otherwise. Sima Yue did not know how to help. They were not familiar with each other to the point where she could treat him directly. Moreover, according to Wu Lingyu's words, they had to pay for what they obtained. This was the way of the heavens, and it was not something she could change by herself. Did you calculate something that went against the heavenly Tao again? She asked. The last time there was an unforeseen event in the immortal land, Master calculated and did not want to suffer such serious injuries. It had been more than 10 years. I don't see any better, Xiao Tong replied. So serious? Is there no way to treat it? Sima Yue asked. This is the reincarnation of the heavenly Tao. Lin said indifferently. He wasn't too worried about his body. There was also a strong sense of helplessness in his voice. Since this is the reincarnation of the heavenly Tao, then there should be a way. Sima Yue said, You guys paid the price with your lives because you lost the initiative. But just like gold, wood, water, fire, and earth, even if they counter each other, they can also help each other. There is indeed, but it is not so easy to obtain. At least, it is not something that can be solved with ordinary medical skills. Lin said. At least there is a way, then we can try. Sima Yue said. Lin smiled and did not talk about this topic anymore. Which divinator in the past had not tried? But those things were so hard to find. Almost all of them were in legends, so who could really find them? After a long time, the desire to find them faded. Let's not talk about this, let's talk about your situation. Don't you have something to ask me? Lin smiled and asked. You know? Sima Yue was slightly surprised. Your body is already not good. If you calculate this, your body will not be able to hold on for long, right? Something that has already happened. I just need to sense it and I will know. It won't cost much, so it's fine. Lin said indifferently. Sima Yue looked at Xiao Tong. His expression did not change, which meant that he was really fine. Then what's going on with me? Why was I fine inside, but when I came out? Why can't I use my spiritual energy? Because you have obtained too much. Lin said, You brought out the living beings inside and changed the entire world's future. Naturally, you will be punished by the heavens. Sima Yue was shocked. He even knew about this? But she didn't know if he was talking about Qing Yi or Blood Demon. Then can I still recover? She asked. If she couldn't recover, then wouldn't she be like a cripple in the future? Of course you can recover. Yin Lin said, this is just a punishment for you, not to kill you. Otherwise, you won't be able to come out of this wonderland. Then how long will it take? Third Mo asked. Sima Yue was also concerned about this. But Yin Lin shook his head. He said, I don't know about this, your fate chart is too strange. I can't calculate any useful information from you using the same method that I used on normal people. If I insist on calculating, I'm afraid that my broken body. Then don't calculate it. Sima Yue said, since it will recover, it's just a matter of time. If I knew earlier, I wouldn't have let it recover earlier. Yin Lin smiled. She was indeed not a normal girl. At first, she was panicking, but after knowing the reason, she calmed down and saw through this matter clearly. Although I can't predict when you will recover, I can tell you that the heavens don't look at time, it only looks at Tao. Maybe you will be able to use it tomorrow, or maybe it will take a few years. There is no time limit, it only depends on the will of the heavens. Yin Lin said. Then is there anything that can make it unseal me earlier? Sima Yue asked. You will have to figure it out yourself. All right, no matter if he didn't know or wasn't willing, she probably wouldn't be able to get anything out of him. How are you doing with the matter I entrusted you with? Yin Lin didn't talk about this anymore, and asked about the matter he entrusted her with before entering the Wonderland. Are you talking about the cleanest water? Sima Yue took out a few jars of water that she found when she was traveling in the Wonderland, and said, the cleanest water, there is no standard. I don't know what kind you want, so I brought a few. Yin Lin looked at them one by one and shook his head. Needless to say, these weren't the cleanest water he was talking about. Is this all? He raised his head and asked softly. So many, but none of them are correct. Sima Yue was a little disappointed. She would bring a jar of clear water back when she saw one, but she didn't expect that none of them were correct. These jars of water do look very clean. But I didn't say it. If you don't have anything else, then I can't tell you about your father. To be continued. Chapter 12:27. Wait, I have something else. Take a look and see if it works. Sima Yue kept the water and took out a spirit stone that contained a few drops of tears and handed it to Yin Lin. Yin Lin found it strange when he saw her take out the spirit stones. Was this also water? But when he reached out to touch the spirit stone, his body shook, and for the first time, an expression of shock appeared on his calm face. Xiao Tong had been with him for so many years, but this was the first time he had seen him like this. He asked in surprise, Master, what is this? Love stone. Yin Lin calmed himself down. This is a love stone. It contains the purest water in the world. When the little boy heard about the love stone, he became excited and said, Master, is this the legendary love stone? Yes, it's the one we've been looking for. Yin Lin said, I had a premonition that you would find the cleanest water, but I didn't expect you to bring this out. Sima Yue looked at their expressions and said, Is this thing very precious? It might not be much to you guys, but to us divinators, it's something more important than our lives. Yin Lin said, with it, we might be able to change Xiao Tong's fate. This thing can change fate? Sima Yue and Third Mo were very surprised. That fingernail-sized rock in Yin Lin's hand could change the fate of a divinator? No, Master, this is for you. Little Two said, I won't use this. Little Two, you have only been a divinator for a short period of time, so the damage to your body is still small. You also have a long time in the future, so this will be more useful to you. Yin Lin said, Master is already like this, giving this to me is also a waste. But Master, this can heal the injuries in your body. Little Helper said. Master has already made up his mind. Yin Lin's attitude was very firm. He didn't allow Little Helper to go against his wishes. The child turned his pleading gaze to Sima Yue and said, Miss Yue, you're the one who found this. Please persuade Master. His body can't drag on any longer. Sima Yue only realized that this was very important to them when she saw them arguing. Otherwise, they wouldn't have pushed each other away. Yin Lin, is this considered clean water? Forget it. This is what I was hoping you would find. Yin Lin said. Then the deal you mentioned before, is it a done deal? Sima Yue asked again. Established. Then the news about my father, now is not the best time to give you this news. When the time is right, I will naturally tell you the news. Yin Lin said. Sima Yue's eyes widened. What? He still had to wait for the right opportunity? Yin Lin chuckled. Don't worry, I won't go back on my word. On the contrary, other than telling you his whereabouts, I will also tell you a key condition to find him. Then why can't you tell me now? If I tell you now, will you go immediately? Yin Lin asked. Sima Yue was stunned. He was right. If he had told her, even if she could not use her spiritual power, she would have rushed over immediately. But Sima Yue was a little unwilling. If she could get news about her father earlier, she might be able to find him earlier. You want to say that even if you don't go, your uncles can go, right? Yin Lin said. Sima Yue nodded. Uncle Lu Feng and Uncle Lu Yun have been looking for my father for so many years. If I tell them the news, they can go and find him first. It's useless even if they get the news. They can't go to the place where your father is. Yin Lin said, only you can save your father there. They can only be your support. There was such a saying. She sighed inwardly and said, then when can you tell me? When the time is right, I will tell you. Yin Lin said. Really, talking to these people was just like the monk in her previous life. They loved to talk in riddles and talk about opportunities and opportunities. Miss Yue. Little Helper saw that Sima Yue was only talking to his master about this and did not persuade him at all. He was anxious at the side. Sima Yue recalled that when she went in, he was still a child. When she came out, he was already an adult. She instantly felt emotional. Can I ask, what is the use of this for you? It can heal the injuries in your body. I already know about this. Yin Lin was silent for a while and said emotionally, as everyone knows, our bodies get injured because we predict the future. One is our body, the other is our heaven's eye. Heaven's eye? Sima Yue blinked her eyes. She did not see them having a third eye. Naturally, you can't see this normally. Yin Lin saw her expression and chuckled. After explaining, he continued, just as you said, there are things that reinforce and counteract each other. There are indeed things that can heal the injuries in our bodies. This love stone is one of them. You said that this might be able to change Little Helper's fate. What do you mean? All the strength of us divinators and the injuries we receive are all through the heaven's eye. The more the heaven's eye sees, the greater the injuries to the body. Little Helper's heaven's eye has just been opened. The injuries to his body are still very light. If you apply the love tear on his heaven's eye, it will be able to heal the injuries it brings. Yin Lin explained. Master, I will not use this. Little Helper said, if you don't use it, I won't use it either. Why don't we return it to Yue? Nonsense. Yin Lin scolded. Although we divinators have received the blessings of the heavens, we have paid a painful price. Now that we can finally change your life, how can you give up so easily? It was Little Helper's first time seeing his master angry. It was also the first time he was scolded by him. He felt wronged and turned his head to the side without saying a word. Sima Yue did not expect that someone like Yin Lin would get angry. Looking at the atmosphere between the two of them, she sighed in her heart. It was all for the good of each other. Yin Lin, don't be angry. You are thinking for his own good. Isn't he thinking for you too? She opened her mouth to persuade, if he really wants to take it for himself and use it to change his fate without caring about your life, then is he still Little Helper? Little Helper bit his lower lip. That's right. Yin Lin's expression softened. Looking at Little Helper's stubborn face, he let out a long sigh. The two of you don't have to be angry. It's not like there's no way to solve this problem. Sima Yue said and took out another 2 love stones. Chapter 12:28. Seeing the love stone in Sima Yue's hand, Xiao Tong's breathing tightened and Yin Lin's expression changed. You actually have this? 1 drop is already very precious in this world. You actually have 3, and each one has 2 drops. This is really... Xiao Tong was so excited that he couldn't speak. Seeing how excited he was, Sima Yue did not want to tell him that she still had 2 more. How did you get so many love stones? Yin Lin asked. These were all obtained from the same place. Sima Yue said, you should know where these came from, right? Yin Lin held the love stone in his hand tightly and closed his eyes to feel it. After a while, he opened his eyes and sighed. I didn't expect it to be like this. He sighed. But we're only exchanging this one. The other 2 are not part of our deal. I don't need these 2 pills. Sima Yue said, these are my gifts to you. For us? Little Helper whispered. That's right. Like you said, it's useless to us. On the contrary, it's very useful to you guys. Sima Yue said, I'm just keeping it for fun. Why don't I give it to you guys? Yin Lin looked at Sima Yue and hesitated for a moment before taking the 2 stones. This is very attractive to us, and I can't refuse it. But where there's a cause, there's an effect. What you've given us today will pay you back in the future. Hee hee, if you say so, I will look forward to it from now on. But you don't have to do this. If it wasn't for you, my father and I wouldn't have survived. Sima Yue smiled. It seems that you already know what happened back then. Uncle Lu Feng and the others told me everything when we were inside. Back then, those people wanted to kill me and my father. It was you who saved us. So, this is just a gift from us. Sima Yue said, just as you said, there is a cause and effect. If that's the case, it would be impolite for me to refuse. Yin Lin smiled. By the way, there's something I don't understand. Why are you only willing to tell me about my father after I find clean water? Sima Yue asked. Because the information you want to obtain will affect the future of this world. You have to pay a certain price to obtain it. Yin Lin explained. If I save my father, will it affect the future? Sima Yue was shocked. She found it hard to accept that saving her father would affect the world. Saving your father may be your personal matter, but it is precisely because you saved your father that it will affect the lives of others. In the beginning, it may only have a small impact, but when it spreads later, it may cause a huge commotion. Could this be related to the butterfly effect? Sima Yue mumbled. Butterfly effect? Sima Yue blinked. She remembered that this was only a saying in her previous world. It didn't exist here. She explained, it means that if a butterfly flaps its wings on this side of the ocean, it may only affect the airflow around it. However, this airflow will cause a typhoon on the other side of the ocean. That's probably what you mean. Yin Lin said. Sima Yue thought about it. The most likely reason was that it would involve the ghost clan. She didn't know what would happen then. If Yin Lin said it like that, it wouldn't be a small matter. But no matter what the future was, she wouldn't stop searching for her father. She had to save him. The people from Heartbreak Valley are coming, Yin Lin said. Sima Yue looked at the people around them and asked curiously, why did they all teleport here, but Third Mo and I came out from somewhere else? Yin Lin smiled and looked at the 2 of them, saying, to protect the people who had great opportunities inside. Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. She did have great opportunities inside. That meant that Third Mo also had great opportunities inside. They're here. We should leave too. Yin Lin said, Yue, I'll find a day to send news of your father to you. During this period of time, you don't have to worry. Why don't you fill in the gaps that you once had? Just as he was speaking, a unicorn pulled a beast carriage from the sky and landed on the mountain peak. The little helper helped Yin Lin onto the beast carriage. The unicorn brought them away. Only Yue and Third Mo were left on the mountain peak. The 2 of them looked at each other and smiled. They didn't mention each other's opportunities. However, Third Mo knew about Sima Yue's situation. However, he didn't know everything. At this moment, Shimin Feng and the others flew over from afar. When they saw Sima Yue and Third Mo, they hurriedly flew over. Sister, are you okay? Shimin Feng asked. I'm not. It's very serious. Third Mo said, your sister is probably going to be a cripple for the rest of her life. Cripple? Shimin Feng and the people who came behind exclaimed in shock. Sister, what happened to you? How did you become a cripple? Do you have any other injuries on your body? Shimin Feng stepped forward and pulled Sima Yue's hand to take a look. It's nothing. Sima Yue said, I don't have any other injuries. It's just that I can't use my spiritual energy. Can't use your spiritual energy? How can you not use your spiritual energy? Boss, did you encounter something inside and get hurt? That's right. Boss, what happened? Those people cried out anxiously. Sima Yue saw their worried expressions and hurriedly explained, I'm fine. Yin Lin said that I'll recover soon. But it might take a long time before you recover. Third Mo said from the side, if that's the case, then what is it if you're not a cripple for eternity? Alright, don't scare them. Sima Yue glared at him. Since Yin Lin said it's fine, then it's fine. Although she said that, everyone's faces were still filled with worry. Alright, why are you guys here? Sima Yue asked. We received a message from divinators saying that you would be here and told us to come and pick you up. Shimin Feng said, Sister, are you really okay? I'm fine. Let's go back first. Sima Yue said, I'll tell you guys more about my situation when we get back. Okay. They left the place first and found a place where there was no one. They took out the temporary array that they had prepared and returned to Heartbreak Valley. Valley Lord, Vice Valley Lord, you guys are finally back. Why did this wonderland open for so long? Something happened, so it opened for a long time. Sima Yue said, How has the valley been all these years? The valley is very good, and there are people waiting for you to come back. Someone is waiting for me to come back. Sima Yue was startled. Ha, Yue, we haven't seen each other for more than 20 years. Don't tell me you forgot about us. Hearing the familiar voice, Sima Yue didn't need to guess to know who was waiting for her. Chapter 12:29. Fatty, when did you guys come to the valley? Sima Yue smiled as she looked at the people walking out of the valley. I've been here for a while. Fatty Chu said, I never thought that your immortal land would be open for 20 years. It's much longer than our 10 years. How was it? Did you guys get any great opportunities? There are quite a lot of opportunities. Sima Yue said, Before I came back, I was wondering if I should go to the academy to see if you guys were there. I didn't expect you to be here. Why are there only a few of you? Where are my brothers? They originally wanted to come over, but as you know, they still have a club to manage. They were held back by something at the last minute. Bei Gongtang said. Sima Yue went up and gave Bei Gongtang a big hug. Ever since we met, we have never been apart for so many years. I missed you guys so much. Bei Gongtang patted her back, feeling a little emotional. Isn't that so? When we were in the Little Realm, we often said that it would be great if you could come with us. I thought I would be able to see you as soon as I came out, but I didn't expect to see you after waiting for more than 10 years. You're back in women's clothes? Has your identity been exposed? Ouyang Fei asked from behind the two. Sima Yue let go of Bei Gongtang and said, Because of some things, I accidentally exposed myself in front of others. Anyway, I don't have so many scruples now. I'll just dress as a woman then. Is there really no problem? As for the Sage Pavilion, Wei Ziqi was a little worried. This time, they had seen more powers and knew more about this continent. The more they understood about the Sage Pavilion, the more worried he was for Sima Yue. No problem. Sima Yue said, When have I ever done something that I'm not sure of? That's true. Wei Ziqi and the rest nodded. Yue, let me tell you. Bei Gongtang grabbed onto Sima Yue's hand. Suddenly, her expression changed. Why can't I feel your spiritual energy? What? The remaining disciples in the valley, Fatty Chu and the others all screamed out in shock. Yue, why don't you have any spirit energy left? Fatty Chu and the others were anxious. The originally happy reunion had suddenly changed. Yue, what's going on? How did you? Don't worry, this is only temporary. Who knows when it will recover? Sima Yue said. What the hell is going on? Ouyang Fei asked with a frown. It's because I did something that I shouldn't have done. It might affect my future, so the Heavenly Tao gave me some punishment. Sima Yue said. How could this be? Everyone's eyes widened. They had never heard of such a thing. Does Yin Lin know? Bei Gong Tang and the others nodded. This time, when they were in the little realm, they had heard others say that there was a very powerful divinator. I didn't know at first. It was Yin Lin who told me. Sima Yue said. He said that I don't have to worry about this. When the heavenly axiom feels that it's enough, it will remove the suppression on me. Hearing her words, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Since Yin Lin said that there was no problem, then there really was no problem. With their hearts settled, Fatty Chu started to be curious again. He came to Sima Yue's side and put one hand on her shoulder. But when he put his hand on her shoulder, countless pairs of eyes stared at him. It made him notice that Yue was a girl, so he put his hand down again. Yu, what did you do to anger the heavens that even the heavens would seal your spiritual energy as punishment? Everyone's eyes gathered on her. She smiled and said, I can't explain it clearly. Yin Lin didn't tell me clearly. He only said that it was because of this. All right, let's not gather here. Everyone, go do what you need to do. Those who need to rest, go rest. Everyone is tired during this period of time. Let's party again after resting. Alright. The people of Heartbreak Valley were happy. They liked to party without restraint. We'll go prepare the ingredients for the party now. The women of Heartbreak Valley said. Alright. Thank you for your hard work. Sima Yue said with a smile. What's hard work about it? Everyone is waiting for you to come back soon. In the past, we felt that the people from Bloodfiend City were always fighting and noisy. But after you left, we found out that we were used to that noisy environment. All right, Vice Valley Lord, we'll go prepare the things first. All right. Everyone quickly dispersed, leaving Yue and a few others. Yue, do you want to rest for a while? Bei Gong Tang asked. Before I came out, I was in closed-door cultivation. I'm not tired at all. It's not easy for us to reunite. How can we not catch up? Let's go, we'll talk when we return to the courtyard. I'm really curious about your experiences these few years. Your strength has increased by a lot. We're also curious about you. We want to know what you did that even the heavenly Tao can't tolerate. Wei Ziqi smiled. Fatty Chu and Ouyang Fei nodded. They were really curious. I didn't do anything actually. I just brought 2 things out. Sima Yue said. Things? What things? It can even affect the heavenly Tao. Bei Gong Tang asked. Don't be anxious. I'll tell you slowly. Because I don't know which one it is, or if it's because I brought both out. Which one? Fatty Chu cried out. Heavens, Yue, what did you do in the immortal land? Let's go. I'll tell you when we get back. Little Spirit has been fiddling with many things these few years. I haven't seen your group of fellows for so many years. I miss them. Why don't we go to the Spirit Pagoda to talk? All right, Sima Yue brought them back to her courtyard. Even though 20 years had passed, her courtyard was still the same as when she left. And there were people coming to clean it every day. The furniture was spotless. Because of their request, she brought them into the Spirit Pagoda and got Little Spirit to prepare some wine. She and Bei Gong Tang repeatedly prepared a few side dishes. Everyone ate and drank as they chatted about the things that had happened in the past few years. Bei Gong Tang and the others' stories were simpler. They found some treasures in the little realm and snatched some opportunities. It was similar to the average person. But Sima Yue's story was different. Her story was so shocking that the 4 of them were stunned. So you're saying that your spiritual energy was sealed. It could be because you brought out Qing Yi, or it could be because you brought out Little Black. Yang Fei said. Yin Lin only said that if I brought it out, it would affect my future. He didn't say what it was, so I can't say for sure. Woof woof. Little Black ran in front of Sima Yue and barked twice. She was so shocked that the wine cup in her hand fell onto the table. Cat pounce. Chapter 12:30. P.S. Here's today's update, and at the same time, I'm trying to get votes for Chidian's 5/15 fan festival. Everyone has 8 votes, and you can even get some coins for voting. I beg for everyone's support and appreciation. Woof, woof, woof. Blackie called out 3 more times, and Sima Yu's forehead was filled with black lines that were about to fall. She slammed both her hands on the table and roared, "Little Roar, come over here." After waiting for a few seconds, Little Dream appeared in front of them with Little Roar in her arms. "Is this your doing again?" Sima Yue stared at Little Roar, who was curled up in Little Dream's embrace. "I was the one who suggested it," Little Dream said. Sima Yue looked at the two of them. With a thought, Little Roar appeared in her embrace. She stretched out both her hands and kept rubbing Little Roar's head. She gritted her teeth and said, "Little Black isn't a dog. Why are you teaching him how to bark like a dog?" Little Dream was helpless. It seemed that she still couldn't deceive you. Little Roar's face was deformed by Sima Yue's devil claw. He waved his little claws in an attempt to push her hand away, but his claws were too short and were completely useless. "You thickwood." Even though his legs were short, Little Roar still resisted with all his might. "Still denying it? Other than you, who else would do such a thing?" Sima Yue pinched him again and again. Although she knew that Sima Yue wouldn't really do anything to Little Roar, she still felt her heart ache and went forward to carry Little Roar. Little Roar escaped from the demon's claws and hurriedly took in 2 deep breaths. The Berserk Yu was really too frightening. "I really didn't teach him." Fina defended herself. "We just threw him into a pack of dogs for 2 years. Sima Yu's face darkened even more. She clearly knew that after Blackie was sealed, his IQ had also deteriorated. Whenever he saw a dog that looked similar to himself, he would bark, bark, bark. It would be strange if he wasn't led astray. Woof, woof, woof. Little Black was not happy that Sima Yue was ignoring it. It opened its mouth and bit the corner of her skirt. Sima Yue picked it up and said, "Little Black, you are a blood demon. You are an existence that threatens the heavens and earth. You are not a puppy. Don't bark like a dog." Woof, woof, woof. Little Black barked at her twice, and it was still barking. "Stop barking like a dog." Woof, woof, woof. Sima Yue stared at Xiao Hei speechlessly. Haha. Fatty Chu and the rest laughed as they watched Sima Yue and Blackie fight. They suddenly felt that this scene was very familiar. It was only when they were together with her that they could feel the way they did back then. "Yue, don't be angry. Little Black being like this is not necessarily a bad thing." Being face it. "That's right." Wei Ziqi also agreed, although the number of people who know about Xiao Hei is few, and it is indeed sealed now, if others were to know of its existence and the contractual relationship between the two of you, in order to destroy it, they might do something to you. If this can confuse them, it's not bad. Sima Yue understood this as well. After forming a contract with her, the blood demon that had not been destroyed by the heavenly tribulation was no longer immortal. She had become its only weakness. If others were to know of its identity and wanted to kill it, they would have to start with her. Once they killed her, it would be gone. She also understood what Wei Ziqi was saying, but she still could not accept this little guy barking like a dog. Little Black came out from her embrace and sniffed with its little nose. It sniffed all the way until it reached Sima Yue's wine cup. It stuck out its tongue and licked it. It felt that the taste was extremely good, so it bit down on the wine cup and swallowed it whole. Everyone was stunned. If you want to drink, just drink. What the hell was with eating the wine cup? Woof, woof, woof. Little Black did not drink to its heart's content. It turned around and scratched Sima Yue's clothes, barking a few more times. Sima Yue ignored it. This guy was barking like a dog. She was unhappy. Seeing that Sima Yue was ignoring it, Little Black's gaze immediately turned to the few wine cups on the table. Bei Gong Tang smiled and pushed her wine cup over, and it swallowed the wine along with the cup. After that, it turned its gaze to the other people's wine cups. Wei Ziqi, who was sitting on the other side, also pushed his wine cup over. Little Black also ate the spirit beast. Such a strong stomach. Fatty Chu clicked his tongue and sighed. Sima Yue helplessly glared at Little Black. She took out a jar of wine and placed it on the ground. She then opened the seal on it. Woof, woof, woof. Little Black saw such a big jar of wine and barked twice happily. It jumped out of Sima Yue's embrace and buried its head in the jar to drink. Bei Gongtang and Wei Ziqi each took out another wine cup and poured wine. Everyone continued to chat. They had not seen each other for more than 20 years. Everyone had a lot of things they wanted to talk about. They chatted for 2 to 3 days. When they went out again, the sky was already dark. Third Aunt Du and Aunt E brought the people in the valley to prepare the dishes for the party in such a short time. There were many people, so they had to prepare the party themselves. Hence, the hot pot and barbecue became the main dishes. The people who prepared the food did not need to do anything else. They only needed to prepare the base and ingredients. Everyone else could do the rest. Of course, this wine was definitely the most important. After experiencing so much, everyone returned to Heartbreak Valley again. Their state of mind was more or less different. If it was said that everyone used to treat this place as a place to stay and contribute to the sect in exchange for a stable life, now everyone treated this place as their own home. Now everyone did not contribute for a stable life. They existed to protect this place. Everyone ate and drank until late at night. Suddenly, there was a fluctuation in space. A space tunnel opened. Sima Yulin, Sima Yuming and the others walked out. Sima Yue had left a special array in the valley. She thought that if her brothers had it, they could come in directly. She didn't expect it to come in handy. Seeing Sima Yue in female clothes, Sima Yuming and the others were still in a daze. Eldest brother, second brother, third brother, fourth brother, Yulin, you're here. Sima Yue saw them and wanted to fly up to greet them. But she remembered that she had no spirit energy left. Sima Yulu and the others flew down and hugged Sima Yue, saying, "Little sister, we finally get to see you. We missed you so much." "Fourth brother, you're strangling me." Sima Yue hammered Sima Yuli's back, asking him to let go of her. Sima Yuming and the others saw her like this and thought that she was just teasing Sima Yulu. Sima Yulu had a rough personality and did not notice her situation. Sima Yulu let go of her and she could breathe again. She smiled at everyone, saying, "Brothers, why are you all here? We saw that the sex people had gone back, so we thought that you should be back too." Sima Yuming said, "Why are you celebrating?" "That's right. Since you're all here, let's talk about it later. Let's eat and drink first." Sima Yue said. Sima Yulu looked around, saying, "Why don't I see grandfather, Auntie Yu and the others?" Grandfather, Auntie Lan, Auntie Yu and Bei Gong's younger brother have absorbed more spirit energy in the immortal land. They're currently in seclusion. Sima Yue said, "Let's go and drink. It's going to be the 515 soon. I hope that we can continue to charge into the 515 red packet rankings. On the 15th of May, the red packet rain will reward the readers and promote our work. This is also love. We will definitely do our best." Chapter 1231. Crazy Wife, 5th Miss Divine Doctor Chapter 1231, Glutton PS. Here's today's update, and at the same time, let's pull in votes for the 515 Fan Festival. Everyone has 8 votes, and votes will be given some coins. That night, no one in Heartbreak Valley rested. They ate and drank until dawn. Sima Yue had no spirit energy, and her body was much weaker. She didn't rest for 2 days, and was exhausted. So when it was over, she went back to sleep. Sima Yulin noticed that she was yawning before she left, so after she left, he asked the others, "Did you notice that Yu is a little different?" "It seems a little different." Sima Yuming said, "She's sleepy like an ordinary person. Yu's spirit energy has been sealed. She's like an ordinary person now." Bei Gongtang said. "What?" The brothers cried out, "How can this be?" "Don't worry, Yin Lin said that Yu is fine." Fatty Chu said. "Really?" Sima Yulin didn't believe it. How could she be fine when her spirit energy was sealed? If Yu said it, we wouldn't believe it either. But this was indeed what Yin Lin said. Wei Ziqi said, "We asked Brother Feng and he confirmed that it was Yin Lin who said it." "That's good." Sima Yuming and the others heaved a sigh of relief. Yin Lin and the others also knew. If he said it was fine, then it was really fine. If Sima Yue heard this, she would be depressed. What did he mean by they wouldn't believe what she said? Was her credibility that low? You know what's going on? Sima Yuchi asked. You told us. Then tell us about it. Okay. Sima Yue slept until evening and was woken up by her stomach growling. She rubbed her stomach with her hand and sighed, saying, I don't have any spiritual energy, so I'm not much different from an ordinary person. It's not bad to feel sleepy and hungry again. She rolled 2 rounds on the bed and was so hungry that she had to get up to look for food. The moment she opened the door, she saw Sima Yulin and the others talking in her courtyard. Why are you guys here? She asked in surprise. You don't have any spirit energy, so does your divine sense? Sima Yuchi walked over and grabbed her wrist, asking. My divine sense is still here. I'm just a little lazy, so I put my divine sense away in my own courtyard. To prevent herself from getting tired, she added in her heart. It's a good thing that your body is fine. Sima Yuchi released her wrist. Sima Yue walked over but did not see Bei Gong Tang. She asked, Where's Bei Gong? She said just now that she reckoned that you would wake up from hunger, so she went to prepare food. Fatty Chu said, That's great. Sima Yue sat in front of the stone table, waiting for Bei Gong Tang to cook for her. Everyone looked at her. She touched her face and said, Is there something on my face? Little sister, don't worry. Since Yin Lin said that you'll be fine, then you'll be fine. Sima Yulu said. Sima Yue didn't know why they were suddenly talking about this. She said, I'm not worried. Really? Of course it's true. Sima Yue said with a smile, although I can't use spirit energy now, it's not necessarily a bad thing for me. What do you mean? Fatty Chu's understanding was always slower than others. I've been walking too fast these few years. I've always been chasing after strength. There are many things that I haven't thought through thoroughly. To put it simply, I haven't settled down enough. Sima Yue said, Now that I can't use my strength, I can think about what happened in the past and think about my future path. I can perfect my state of mind. It's good that you can think this way. Sima Yulin and the others were worried that she was pretending to be relaxed last night. Now that they heard her say this, they realized that she really didn't have any psychological burden. They didn't have to worry anymore. Although this might cause her to stop for a few years, it might be a good thing for her. There was no absolute good or bad, right? Why isn't Bei Gong here yet? I'm starving to death. She rubbed her stomach. Alas, although hunger and cold are also a kind of life experience, the feeling of being hungry is really uncomfortable. I heard your voice from below. Bei Gong Tang came up from the bottom of the mountain and smiled as she pushed open the door to the courtyard. Sima Yue's eyes lit up when she saw Bei Gong Tang. Bei Gong Tang looked at her and smiled as she shook her head. She came to the side of the table and waved her hand. 4 steaming dishes and a bowl of rice appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Sima Yue couldn't wait to take out her chopsticks and ate a piece of green vegetable. Oh, Bei Gong's culinary skills are getting better and better. This vegetable is really delicious. This isn't because my culinary skills have improved. It's because you're too hungry now. Bei Gong Tang said, although I used to eat often, I wasn't hungry. I just ate for the sake of eating. It's different from you now. Sima Yue swallowed the vegetable and sighed. I never thought that I would be able to experience the feeling of hunger again in this lifetime. To be honest, this feeling is really uncomfortable. I've already told Aunt E and the others. You'll have 3 meals a day in the future. They'll make it for you. Bei Gong Tang said. Aunt Yi's culinary skills are not bad. Sima Yue said, if it's someone else, then forget it. Aunt E said that she'll personally cook for you every day. So you should just eat obediently. Don't worry about those useless things. Sigh. Sima Yue sighed and swept the 4 dishes and rice in front of her clean. It can't be you. You actually ate so many things by yourself? You can't use spiritual energy now. Don't eat too much and get indigestion. Fatty Chu exclaimed. Sima Yue rubbed her stomach and said, I don't feel that I'm full. I feel that if there are 2 more bowls, I'll definitely be able to finish it. When did your appetite become so big? Sima Yue was a little suspicious. It was normal to eat a lot when I had spiritual energy. Now that I don't have any spiritual energy, I can still eat. This is a little strange. Could it be that I was born with a huge appetite? Your appetite wasn't that big in the past. Sima Yuiwei exposed her. When you first started cultivating, your appetite wasn't that big either. Maybe it's because you're cultivating your body. Sima Yue said, your body doesn't look conspicuous, but your strength isn't small. This consumes a lot of energy. In the past, you could use spiritual energy, so it wasn't obvious. Now that you don't have any spiritual energy, you can only absorb it from food. Everyone thought about it and felt that this was the most likely possibility. However, she didn't like this theory. So you're saying that I have to eat a lot every day to satisfy my body's needs? Then I have to eat every day? It was going to be 515 soon. She hoped that she could continue to charge into the 515 red packet list. On the 15th of May, the red packet rain would reward the readers and promote her work. This was love too. She would definitely do her best. Translator, Nayoibo Studio. Chapter 1232. P.S. Here's today's update, and at the same time, I'm trying to get votes for the Chidian 515 Fan Festival. Everyone has 8 votes, and you can even get some coins for voting. I beg for everyone's support and appreciation. Seeing Sima Yoyue's speechless look, everyone could only laugh. Yue, it's okay. Even if you eat every day, Heartbreak Valley can still afford it. Fatty Chu patted his leg and laughed. Sima Yue was speechless. This guy's laughter was really asking for a beating. Everyone else was laughing. Only Bei Gongtang was better and didn't laugh at her. But when she shifted her gaze to Bei Gongtang took a step back and waved her hand, saying, if you eat like this, I can't cook for you every day. You'd better find someone else. She took it seriously. Sima Yue pushed the plate away and laid on the table with a wail. She muttered, you guys are really annoying. We just reunited and you're all laughing at me. Do you still have a conscience? What's a conscience? Can it be eaten? Fatty Chu laughed and asked. Sima Yue turned around and glared at him, saying, do you believe that I won't eat you? That's strange. You can't catch me now. Fatty Chu stuck his tongue out at Sima Yue and glared. Sima Yue saw that Fatty Chu was actually making a face at her, so she casually threw the bowl at him. The strong wind caused by the bowl shocked everyone. Although she didn't have any spiritual energy, she still had her physical strength. But it was also because she threw it at Fatty Chu. He had trained his body before, so this bit of strength couldn't hurt him. As expected, Fatty Chu caught the bowl with his bare hands and threw it back to the table. He laughed and said, Yue, you don't have any spiritual energy, but you're still so strong. Luckily it's me. If it was someone else, they might not be able to catch it. Seems like you've trained well. Sima Yue said. That's true. Although we weren't together with you, we didn't relax for even a moment. We knew that you would definitely be even more powerful. Fatty Chu spoke out everyone's thoughts. However, when exactly will you be able to recover? Sima Yuchi looked at her worriedly. Although it was good to relax occasionally, it wasn't good to go on like this. Sima Yue shook her head. Yin Lin really didn't say anything. You know that divinators like them love to keep people in suspense. They call it, heaven's secrets must not be revealed. But you can't always be heartless. What if we wait for 300 to 500 years? Sima Yulu said. Alright, I'm not worried, so you guys don't have to worry either. Yin Lin said that he would send news to my father soon, which meant that I would be able to recover soon. Don't worry. Sima Yue waved her hand and told them not to worry. Then what are your plans for this period of time? Sima Yulin asked. Without spirit energy, I can't do much. Sima Yue said. I want to read some books and eat some food during this period of time. Let's see if I can replenish my spirit energy by eating more. Who knows, it might really work. This time, it was the others who were speechless. This guy was even self-deprecating. Then do you have any books that you want to read? We'll get them for you. Sima Yulu asked. No need, I plan to read some books on armament. Sima Yue said. Oh right, speaking of this, Fatty, I'll get a book for you to read later. It'll definitely be useful for you. Sima Yue turned her gaze to her brothers. Do you guys have anything you want to learn? I can teach you now. Us. Her brothers were stunned. Yeah. I was too busy before, so even if I knew a lot, I didn't have time to ask you guys. Sima Yue said. Now that I have time, you guys just have to take some time to learn. Of course, I don't know how to refine armaments. Won't it be too late for us to learn now? Sima Yuming said. Others started learning when they were young, but they were already 60 to 70 years old. It was too late. No, compared to the long life ahead, what is your age? Sima Yue said. Also, you have your advantages now. What advantages do we have? Sima Yulu thought about it. He didn't have any talent to show. Sima Yue sat up straight and looked at them. You guys have been using the methods I taught you to increase your spirit and mental strength. With stronger mental strength, you can remember things faster. Even if you can't remember everything with a single glance, you'll be able to remember it after looking at it a few times. That's true, Sima Yuchi said. With stronger mental strength, they would be able to remember things faster than before. Then, with stronger spirit, your control will be stronger. For example, it'll be easier to control alchemy and armament. Sima Yue said. Your mental strength is different from others. That's why it's not too late to start now. This is called, sharpening the axe does not delay the work of chopping wood. Everyone thought about it. It was true. Yu is right. If you learn now, you have your advantages. Wei Ziqi said. If you want to learn armament, you can look for me. Although I'm not that good, I know the basics. Fatty Chu said. For the rest, you can learn from Yu. Her methods are very powerful. Sima Yuming and the others thought about it and felt that they could give it a try. Having a skill to learn in their free time was not bad. Then it settled. Sima Yue said. Sai, why do I feel hungry again after talking for a while? You can't eat like this. Sima Yulin saw that she took out a spirit fruit to eat again. Why don't you try eating pills? Pills contain more energy, so it's better than eating nonstop. Sima Yue thought about it. Makes sense. Bei Gong, you guys can refine some pills for me later. It'll be good if it can fill my stomach. Okay. Bei Gong Tang replied. Refining pills was better than cooking for her every day. In the following days, the Sima family brothers began to study in seclusion in the spirit pagoda. If Sima Yue was outside, they could ask her if they didn't understand anything. She just had to release a thread of consciousness to answer. She had also given Fatty Chu the handwritten letter on refining armaments. When he saw the manual, Fatty Chu saw the value in it at a glance. He was so excited that he almost hugged Sima Yue and spun around. It was a good thing that he held back. Otherwise, the brothers around him would beat him up. A few days later, the higher-ups of Heartbreak Valley had a meeting. She, who was always absent, attended. When everyone saw her, they were surprised. Anian even asked, Boss, why are you here today? I know you guys are having a meeting, so I came to listen. Sima Yue casually found a seat and sat down. You guys can continue. Just ignore me. It's going to be 515 soon. I hope to continue to hit the 515 red packet list. On the 15th of May, the red packet rain will reward the readers and promote the works. This is also love. I will do my best. Chapter 1233. P.S. Here's today's update, and at the same time, I'll help Chidian 515 Fan Festival to get more votes. Everyone has 8 votes, and you can even get some coins for voting. Shimin Feng looked at his sister who was taking out a spirit fruit and eating it, and smiled. The others were smiling too, and at the same time, they felt sorry for her. She used to be an all-powerful person, but now she had to eat every day. Although they knew it was temporary, but they still felt sorry for her. Sima Yue saw that everyone was looking at her. The spirit fruit in her hand, and said helplessly, I've been hungry recently, and eating pills makes my mouth tasteless. Just ignore me. Cough cough, sister, are you here for something? Shimin Feng asked. I've finished reading the information that Old Bai sent over, and heard that you were having a meeting today, so I came over to listen. Sima Yue said. So much information, you finished reading it all? Bai Xing asked curiously. That was 2 stacks of account books and information that were almost 1 meter tall, and she finished reading it all in 2 days? I've finished reading it. Sima Yue said, 2 days, it's enough. Pervert. Bai Xing cursed silently in his heart. The second day after he came back, the information was sent over and he took 4 to 5 days to finish reading it. Then he gave it to Ximen Feng for 5 to 6 days, and when it was finally in her hands, she finished reading it in 2 days. But thinking about it, her mental strength was so strong, and reading 10 lines at a glance was a piece of cake, so she finished it quickly. She had always been a pervert. Since sister has finished reading the account books and information, do you have any thoughts? Ximen Feng asked. Thoughts, I do have a little. Sima Yue said, first of all, I have to praise Old Bai for finding Lu Liangkai to manage the business. He's indeed a talent. In the 20 years that we were gone, he actually doubled the value of our shops. Although we have the support of the Alchemist Guild, Divine Devil Valley and Qin family, but without his leadership, we wouldn't have achieved such results. Lu Liangkai is indeed a business genius. Ximen Feng agreed. We really have to thank Old Bai for this. Lu Liangkai used to be from Blood Fiend City and was old acquaintances with Old Bai. Back then, when Old Bai was looking for someone to manage the business, he had used him. Sima Yue and the rest did not know him at first. When they saw him, they saw that he was thin and small and wondered if he could do it. But because they believed in Old Bai, she and Ximen Feng didn't object. He didn't expect to give them such a surprise as soon as he came back. Oh yeah, why didn't I see him? Sima Yue asked. He went out 2 days ago, saying that something happened at East Ridge. Bai Sheng frowned when he said this. Ximen Feng kept looking at him. Seeing him frown, he asked, what's wrong? Before Liang Kai left, he said that the situation there was a little strange. It seemed that something had happened in that city. But he said that he didn't know the exact situation and there wasn't any news back these 2 days. Bai Sheng said, then you should pay attention to the situation over there. If there's anything you need, the sect will fully support you. Ximen Feng said. Yes, Valley Lord. Bai Sheng replied. At this moment, everyone didn't know what had happened at East Ridge. They also didn't know that the situation over there would be so serious. No one took the situation here to heart, including Bai Sheng. Other than praising Lu Liangkai, does sister have any other thoughts? Ximen Feng asked. You guys are having a meeting. I'll just listen in. Sima Yue said. We're discussing how to deal with Yin Yang Palace and Zhongzheng clan. Ximen Feng said, their people were completely annihilated in the Immortal Land. Both parties' people outside didn't stay idle either. Everyone thought that Zhongzheng clan would be exterminated. But no one knows where they got support from. They actually fought with Yin Yang Palace for so many years and they still haven't been exterminated. Ximen Feng didn't know how much Sima Yue knew about Zhongzheng clan and Yin Yang Palace's situation, so he explained it briefly. Sima Yue only saw the information about Yin Yang Palace and Zhongzheng clan's shop. She didn't know about these things. Hearing Ximen Feng's words, she thought about the power that couldn't be exposed in the inner regions. In the recent decades, there were many things related to that power. So when it came to the unknown power supporting Zhongzheng clan, she subconsciously thought of that. What kind of power was that, to keep interfering in these matters? What was their motive? Vice Valley Lord, what do you think? Feng Kai's voice pulled her out of her deep thoughts. She then realized that her spirit fruit had been placed beside her mouth. She put down the spirit fruit and said, I think that since they're fighting like dogs, then we shouldn't be in a hurry to fight them. And according to what you said just now, Zhongzheng clan has someone supporting them. Yin Yang Palace should have someone behind them too. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in a stalemate with the power behind Zhongzheng clan for so long. We think so too. Then what should we do next? Since our business has developed so well, then we should start nibbling away at their shops. Sima Yue said, I believe that this shouldn't be difficult for you, right? Feng, what do you think? Actually, before you came, we've already discussed this for a while. Ximen Feng said, the result of our discussion is similar to what you think. We plan to start from the business and nibble away at their foundation. Since you've already discussed it, why are you still asking for my opinion? Sima Yue glared at everyone. Aren't we waiting for your opinion? Feng Kai said, since everyone agrees to do this, then we can start drafting the execution plan. The term execution plan was taught to them by Sima Yue when she showed them the plan to establish their power. I think we should wait for Lu Liangkai to come back. Sima Yue said, you guys don't have such a sensitive business sense like him. You also don't have such a thorough understanding of the two powers economy. That's true. Bai Sheng said, let's draft the initial plan first and wait for Liang Kai to come back. Sure. At this moment, a guard came in and bowed to Shimin Feng and the rest, saying, Valley Lord, there's someone outside Heartbreak Valley who claims to be from the Armament Masters Guild. He wants to see Vice Valley Lord. Someone from the Armament Masters Guild wants to see me? Sima Yue was stunned. She thought of Xiao Hong and said, give him a one-time use antidote and bring him in. Yes, Vice Valley Lord. The guard retreated and soon he brought a man in. I'm Xiao Yi, Mrs. Guard. Xiao Yi came in and bowed slightly to Sima Yue. After introducing himself, he said, Miss Yue, my miss asked me to bring you something. It's going to be 515 soon. I hope to continue rushing to the 515 Red Packet ranking. On the 15th of May, the Red Packet Rain will reward the readers and promote the works. It's love too. I'll do my best. Chapter 1234. Here's today's update, and at the same time, I'm trying to get votes for the Chidian 515 Fan Festival. Everyone has 8 votes, and you can even get some coins for voting. Xiaoyi took out a box. Sima Yue opened it and saw an invitation and a sound stone inside. Sima Yue helplessly looked at the sound stone. She had to insert spirit energy to listen to it. She didn't have any spirit energy, so she couldn't even open it. She helplessly passed the sound stone to Dai Yi, sorry to trouble you. She suddenly thought of something and turned to ask Xiao Yi, she didn't say that I can only listen to it when I'm alone, right? Xiao Yi was stunned. He thought about it and said, no. That's good. Dai Yi, come on. Sima Yue said. Dai Yi infused his spirit energy into it, and Xiao Hong's voice came out. Yue, did you miss me after being apart for so long? Oh my god, I really missed you. I think that since I missed you so much, you must have missed me too. Hee hee, cough cough. Sima Yue glared at them. These guys were making fun of her again. I know that you miss me too, but you're so busy, so you definitely don't have time to play. But you can't reject what I want to tell you today. Xiao Hong's voice continued, do you see the invitation in the box? This is the invitation to my father's succession ceremony. I'm officially inviting you to attend. This invitation was personally written by my father, so you can't reject it. Then we'll meet in 2 months. I'm looking forward to it. Xiao Hong's voice ended here, and the sound stone returned to normal. Sima Yue picked up the invitation and opened it. It said that He Qindong's succession ceremony would be held in 2 months. She and Heartbreak Valley's people were invited to attend. She put down the invitation and said, we'll accept this invitation. We'll definitely be there on time. But I'm a little curious. You just came out of Immortal Land, so why are you in such a hurry to hold the succession ceremony? Although Xiao Yi did not know why Sima Yue wanted Dai Yi to activate the Soundstone, he had heard a lot about how powerful Sima Yue was from the people who came back from the Immortal Land, so he had some understanding of her. Even if they didn't really believe that she was that powerful, the changes in Xiao Hong's body couldn't lie. The moment she returned from the Immortal Land, they noticed her changes. Because the change was too obvious. It's like this. Some time ago, our president was robbed and killed. Xiao Yi said, now that the union is without a leader, they are anxious to let the vice president take over. Your guild leader was killed? When did this happen? Everyone present was shocked. There was no news of this at all. Just a few months ago, Xiao Yi said. I've tried a few times before, but I've never succeeded. But this time, do you know who did it? Shimin Feng asked. There are some clues, but I'm still investigating, Xiao Yi replied. Sima Yue and the rest could tell that this was the official answer. This meant that this was internal information and it was not convenient for them to reveal it. Everyone was a smart person, so they were able to understand this point. You came all the way here, just stay with us for 2 days? Let N.E. and the rest accompany you for a drink, Sima Yue said now. The people in the Union have always been curious about Heartbreak Valley. Since Miss Yue invited me, it would be impolite for me to refuse. Xiao Yi replied. Feng Kai, Shichen, and Yi, the 3 of you accompany the guests to walk around the valley and have a good drink. Sima Yue gave them a look, and they immediately understood. And Yi stepped forward and put his arm around Xiao Yi's shoulder. He smiled and said, Big brother Xiao, no outsiders have come to our Heartbreak Valley. Let me tell you, the scenery here is beautiful. Others don't have the chance to see it. Then I'm really lucky, Xiao Yi said. Of course, let me tell you, besides the beautiful scenery, we also have good wine. You know the fruit wine in Memory Restaurant, right? You can drink whatever you want. You can drink as much as you want. After you're done, you can even bring some back for your friends. And I and the rest brought Xiao Yi and left. Sima Yue prepared to keep the invitation and sound stone. Vice Valley Lord, can I take a look at this invitation? Bai Xing asked. Sure. Sima Yue threw it, and the invitation flew into Bai Xing's hands. Even without spiritual energy, this was a piece of cake to her. After Bai Xing received the invitation, he looked at it carefully. Old Bai, what's wrong with this invitation? Feng Ji was sitting below him. Seeing him looking at the invitation repeatedly, he asked. I heard that the Armament Master Guild's invitation is divided into different grades. I want to see what grade Vice Valley Lord's invitation is. Bai Xing said. What grade is mine? Sima Yue was curious too. Although it's not the highest grade invitation for special guests, it's still an important guest. Bai Xing said, seems like He Chendong values you quite a lot. Although it was written that he was inviting her and Heartbreak Valley's people, but everyone could tell that he was inviting her and Heartbreak Valley's people. If not, she wouldn't be in front of Heartbreak Valley. Boss, who are you planning to bring along? Dai Yi asked. Anyone who wants to go can go. How about it? Do you want to follow me to take a look at the Armament Master Guild Master's succession ceremony? Sima Yue smiled and asked. Forget it. We're not interested in that kind of occasion at all. Hong Wu and the rest shook their heads. Moreover, we have too many enemies. If we go, we might bring you trouble. I'm not going either. UC said. You're really not going? It's not like we haven't seen how He Chendong looks like. This kind of occasion isn't suitable for us. Feng Ji said. That's right. Sima Yue shrugged her shoulders and said, all right, you've all seen the world. You're different from us. I'll bring my friends who haven't seen the world like me. You want to bring Bei Gong Tang and the rest along? Shimin Feng asked. I'll go back and ask them to see if they're willing to go. If they're not willing, I'll go by myself. Sima Yue said. I'm worried about the few of you. Shimin Feng said, the Armament Master Guild Master's succession ceremony will definitely invite many powers. At that time, the mermaids will be mixed together. You don't have any spiritual energy now. If anything happens, they won't be able to protect you. I still have the guards that my master gave me. Sima Yue said. They're all in the little realm. You don't have any spiritual energy. How are you going to open the little realm? Sima Yue was stunned. That's right, how could she forget about this? Luckily, Wu Lamai and Shui Qingman had already brought Little 11 back. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to come out if they were locked inside. As for the Feng clan's guards, they were living quite well inside. If that's the case, Old Bai will go with me? You're so powerful. You'll definitely be able to protect me. Right, Old Bai? Sima Yue looked at Bai Sheng, who was in a daze, and said with a smile. She had never seen Old Bai like this before. If he agreed, there might be a good show to watch. It's going to be the 515 red packet soon. I hope to continue charging into the 515 red packet list. On the 15th of May, the red packet reign will be able to reward the readers and promote the works. This is love too. I'll definitely do my best. Chapter 12:35. Bai Sheng's expression was a little strange. He hesitated and said, "Since you said so, then I'll go with you." Good. It's settled then. Sima Yu kept the things away and said, "I'll leave the rest to you guys. I'm going to ask Fatty and the others for their opinions. Please search to see the most complete. It's the fastest." "Okay, you go," Shimin Feng said. Her purpose in coming here was to tell them that it was not the right time to use force to suppress them. They had to take economic measures. Now that she knew that they were thinking the same way, she decided to continue being a hands-off boss. If it was someone else, they might not understand. But they all knew how busy and tired she was. They couldn't wait for her to rest more and not worry about these things. Even the account books were sent to her at her request. After she left, they continued their discussion, but she didn't need to worry about the rest of the plan. That room was full of smart people. When she returned to the courtyard, she smelled the aroma of food. She had just eaten a spirit fruit, but when she smelled the aroma, she felt the gluttony in her stomach come out again. She pushed open the courtyard door and entered. When she arrived at the kitchen, she saw Bei Gong Tang cooking inside. Wei Ziqi and the others were chatting at the table. When they saw her, they smiled and greeted her. Sima Yue leaned against the door with her arms crossed in front of her chest. She looked at everyone and felt as if she had returned to the time when they had just met in the Capital Institute. Back then, they often cooked in the small kitchen in the courtyard. It was just that the person in charge of cooking at that time was her, and not the current Bei Gong Tang. In the blink of an eye, 30 to 40 years had passed. "Do you still remember when we first met?" she asked emotionally. "How could I not remember?" Wei Ziqi said, "Fatty's nose is the most sensitive. When you were cooking in the kitchen, he immediately became entangled." "I've never been immune to food." Fatty Chu said, "Yue, your cooking smells so good. At that time, we weren't on very good terms. Every time I think of your cooking, I'm dying of hunger. But I didn't dare to look for you, afraid that you'd beat me up." "Are you afraid of being beaten up or losing your virginity?" Sima Yue walked over and sat down. "Back then, when you saw me, you looked like you wanted to eat me up. If you really want to eat me up, I'm definitely willing right now." Fatty Chu raised his chin as he spoke, looking as though he was ready to be trampled upon. "Go away." Wei Ziqi knocked his head, not allowing him to take advantage of Sima Yue. "However, at that time, your reputation was indeed not good. It was normal for everyone to be afraid of you." Ouyang Fei said. "Then why don't you guys look scared?" Sima Yue took out her bowl and chopsticks and started eating. At that time, Ouyang and Bei Gong were like 2 blocks of ice. "If it wasn't for my passion, how could I have melted your ice-cold hearts?" Fatty Chu said proudly. "You're really shameless. Was it you who melted their hearts back then?" Wei Ziqi didn't want to talk about him anymore. It was true that the older one got, the thicker his skin became. Although we weren't familiar with each other at that time, it was still very good. "It's hard for us to come this far," Sima Yue said. Sima Yulin sat at the side, drinking tea and listening to their conversation. He couldn't get involved in the matters of the Dongchen Kingdom, but he was willing to listen. "All right, I have something to discuss with you guys," Sima Yue said as she took out the Armament Masters Guild's invitation. "Invitation? Who invited us to play?" Fatty Chu asked. Wei Ziqi opened the invitation and read out the contents. "The Armament Masters Guild invited you to participate in the succession ceremony?" Sima Yue said, "They aren't going with me. Do you guys want to go?" "Sure." Fatty Chu agreed without thinking. He liked it when there was a good show to watch. "Who do you plan to bring?" Sima Yulin asked. "Only Old Bai." Sima Yue said, "Initially, I didn't want Old Bai to go. After all, he has a lot of things to do in the valley. However, I saw that his expression was a little different when he saw the invitation. I think that he has something on his mind, and it has something to do with the Armament Masters Guild. That's why I brought him along." "There's no one else?" "There's no one else. Also, it depends on whether or not you guys want to go." Sima Yue said. "Of course we'll go." This kind of worldly experience can increase our experience. Fatty Chu said. What about you guys? Sima Yue asked the others. We're all one. If you guys go, we'll naturally go too. Wei Ziqi said, however, we're not strong enough. You can't use your spirit energy now. Wouldn't it be too dangerous to only bring Old Bai along? Although I can't use the little realm, I can still use the spirit pagoda. The elders of the bird clan are all there. If anything happens, I can just call them out. Sima Yue said, if that's not enough, it's useless to bring a few more people. Everyone thought about it and agreed. If those elders couldn't solve it, it would be useless to bring more people. I think I need to prepare more thunderbolt bullets. If it really can't go on, there are still thunderbolt bullets that can resist for a period of time. Fatty Chu said. Alright, prepare more. Anyway, this thing can be used at any time. It's better to be prepared. Sima Yue said. I can use the method on the manual to refine it and see if it can improve. Fatty Chu said, once I think about it, I can't stop. Yue, let me in quickly. I want to do it. Fatty Chu had always done whatever he wanted to do. Now that he wanted to use the new method to refine thunderbolt bullets, his heart was itching. Sima Yue understood his character and kept him in the spirit pagoda. At the same time, Feng Kai, Shi Qin and I in Yi brought Xiao Yi to walk around the outskirts of Heartbreak Valley. Seeing those poisonous creatures in miasma, and thinking that they had actually built a sect here, they thought highly of their power. From what he knew, no one had been able to stay here for a long time. They were the first in history. Seeing those poisonous creatures either fearful or friendly towards them, he felt that it was too amazing. They brought him to a cliff. From here, they could see the sunset. The scenery was not bad, so they stopped here. How can such a beautiful scenery not be accompanied by good wine? Shi Qin took out 4 bottles of fruit wine. The fruit wine was stored in a container similar to a beer bottle, making it convenient to drink. This was specially refined by Sima Yue based on the beer bottles in her previous life. It was for this kind of situation so that they didn't have to spoil the scenery with 1 jar each. After a few cups of wine, Xiao Yi felt a little smug. He didn't expect to be able to drink Memory Restaurant's good wine today. This trip to deliver the letter was too worth it. Shi Chen and Xiao Yi clinked their bottles and said, Brother Xiao, I've been thinking about something. I want to ask you, is it suitable? This book came from Chapter 1236. According to the book's current location, that night, Sima Yue waited for Shi Chen in her courtyard. When Shi Chen came in, Sima Yue was drinking tea. Opposite her, there was a cup of freshly brewed tea. He smiled knowingly and sat down across from her. He first took a sip of tea before saying, Boss, I've managed to get some information out of him. I knew you guys wouldn't disappoint me. Sima Yue praised, What did you find out? Xiao Yi told us about the attire of the assassins. We can confirm that they should be related to the people from Cloud Sea City. Shi Qin said. It's really them. Sima Yue squinted her eyes. What kind of power are they? They actually incited chaos between the guilds. I feel that there must be a secret behind this. And this secret will incite chaos in the entire continent in the future. Then should we follow this information and investigate? Shi Qin asked. We just established our power not long ago. Although we have Memory Restaurant, our intelligence system is not perfect. If we investigate, it will be useless. Sima Yue said, but you reminded me. We have to develop our intelligence system. We can do that. Shi Qin said, to take root in the entire continent, other than business and power, intelligence is also very important. We have always neglected this. Sima Yue said, I'll call Feng and the rest over to discuss. She took out the mother-son stone and remembered that she didn't have any spiritual energy. She could only let Shi Qin do it. After a while, Shimin Feng, Bai Sheng, Feng Ji and Feng Kai all came to her courtyard. They were very supportive when they heard that they wanted to set up an intelligence system. They discussed until late into the night and finally decided to set up an intelligence system with Memory Restaurant as the core. Sima Yue yawned a few times and said tiredly to everyone, "This initial plan needs to be perfected. You don't have to call me for the rest. Let's call it a night. I need to go in and sleep. I'm so tired." She got up and entered the house. Yesterday, she was so engrossed in reading the book on the basics of refining that she didn't sleep much. Now that it was almost dawn, it was equivalent to her not sleeping for 2 days and 2 nights. "Let's go to the conference hall and continue to discuss the following matters," Shimin Feng said. Their conversation would definitely affect Sima Yue's rest. All right. Sima Yue only needed to give them the initial idea and they would have to perfect the implementation later. They were really worrisome. Sima Yue did not care about the rest of the matter and left it to them. After staying in Heartbreak Valley for 2 days, Xiao Yi returned with some specialties of Heartbreak Valley. Thinking of the poisonous powder made from poisonous substances, he wondered who would use such a thing as a letter to a guest. Fortunately, when he saw the pile of fruit wine they had prepared, he didn't feel that they were stingy. What he didn't know was that the poisonous powder was even more precious than the fruit wine. In Sima Yue's words, supply and demand determine the price. The fruit wine in Heartbreak Valley was much more than the poisonous powder, so it wasn't valuable at all. After staying for more than half a month, Sima Yue left Heartbreak Valley with Fatty Chu and the rest and headed to the place mentioned on the invitation. Unlike the mysterious Cloud Sea City, the location of the Armament Masters Guild was well known to everyone. They were in the southern wasteland, but the Armament Masters Guild was in the northern desert. They didn't know how many places they had to pass through. Plus, she didn't have spirit energy to protect her body and couldn't teleport long distances, so she could only walk and stop and slow down. Ugh, Sima Yue vomited the moment she came out of the teleportation array. She felt that her internal organs were about to be vomited out. She didn't have spirit energy and couldn't set up a teleportation array. When she came back from the Immortal Land, she used the teleportation array that she set up herself, so she was fine. But she didn't expect that after so many years, she would start to get sick from the teleportation array again. Fortunately, she set out in advance. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to reach there on time. Fatty Chu and the rest saw that Sima Yue had suffered around and their hearts ached. Yu probably didn't have spirit energy to protect her body, so she got sick from the teleportation array again. Wei Ziqi guess. Can't be sure. Bei Gongtang said, I thought she was fine, but I didn't expect her to be like this without spirit energy. I don't know when her spirit energy will recover. Sima Yulin said. We've been walking and stopping along the way, but we're almost there. Ouyang Fei said. We'll be there after 2 more teleportation arrays. Fatty Chu said. Sima Yue, who had just finished vomiting, heard what he said and bent over to vomit again. She wailed in her heart, it would be good if it was a long distance, she could vomit enough in one go. But because she didn't have spirit energy to protect her body, she couldn't use the teleportation array for a long time, so she could only use it for a short distance. Therefore, every time was torturous. Others would only teleport if they didn't have a direct route, but she was different. After 2 teleportations, there was a direct route, but she couldn't use it. Thinking about it made her heart ache. Once she had vomited enough, they found a nearby inn to stay and planned to rest for a day or 2 before continuing. They were already deep in the north of the desert, and there were still 4 more days before they reached the armament city in the center of the desert. But this 4-day journey might take them more than 10 days. It was a good thing that they still had half a month's time, even if there were delays on the way, they still had 3 to 5 days to rest in the armament city. Sima Yue wailed in her heart. In order to participate in this ceremony, she was drunk. Xiaohong, oh Xiaohong, if I didn't promise you, I wouldn't have to suffer like this. She lay on the bed and murmured in pain, then fell into a deep sleep. She slept until noon on the 2nd day. She woke up hungry and saw a familiar smiling face when she opened the door. You lazy worm, you can sleep until so late. Xiaohong said with a smile. Why are you here? Sima Yue looked at Xiaohong, who had changed 18 times. I'm here to pick you up. Xiaohong said, I heard that you left for a long time and still haven't arrived. I was worried that something might have happened to you, so I got someone to check. After knowing your route, I guessed that you would land here, so I came here in advance to wait for you. The moment you arrived, I got the news. What if I didn't arrive here? Sima Yue asked. It's okay, I arranged people in the nearby cities. Wherever you go, I will go. Xiao Hong said with a smile. But why do you look so pale? Sima Yue touched her stomach and said, We'll talk about this later while eating. I'm so hungry, let's go down to eat first. Hungry? Xiao Hong thought that she heard wrong, but when she saw Sima Yue gobbling up the food, she understood that she was really hungry when she said that she was hungry. And underscus equals point, and IP equals, and undersc equals GBK, and equals Tanksin underscore 1005796 underscore 1355667 underscore 5396814, and undersc equals true, and underscus / x. I equals M underscore 1005796 underscore 1355667 underscore 5396814, and underscore H equals 0, and tanks undersea tanks, and underscus equals point, and IP equals, and undersea equals GBK, and equals Tanksin underscore 1005796 underscore 1355667 underscore 5398285, and undersc equals true, and underscus / x. I equals M underscore 1005796 underscore 1355667 underscore 5398285, and underscore H equals 0, and tanks undersea and underscus equals point, and IP equals, and undersea equals GBK, and equals Tanksin underscore 1005796 underscore 1355667 underscore 5398286, and undersc equals true, and underscus / x. I equals M underscore 1005796 underscore 1355667 underscore 5398286, and underscore H equals 0, and tanks undersea underscus tanks undersea. Remember after reading, for next time, or Transmigration Fan strives to create what girls love to watch and provide them with the best. Chapter 1237. According to the book's current location, because Sima Yue had been vomiting a lot recently, everyone felt bad for her, so Bei Gong Tang would personally cook for her every meal. These inns all had small kitchens that could be used by paying some crystals, so every time Sima Yue woke up from hunger, there would be a sumptuous meal waiting for her. Xiao Hong saw Sima Yue eating so much food and said in shock, My God, I haven't seen you for more than 10 years. But you can eat so much all of a sudden? Sima Yue drank 2 bowls of porridge, ate 2 steamed buns, gnawed on a chicken leg and a chicken wing before she finally recovered. Seeing Xiao Hong so shocked, she rolled her eyes and said, Xiao Hong, you don't know how much I suffered just to see you. When we reach Armament City, you have to treat me better and treat me well. Otherwise, I'll use a needle and turn you back to how you used to be. Xiao Hong shrank back and covered her chest with both hands, saying, A woman's heart is the most poisonous. But how did you become like this? You seem to have lost a lot of weight. Also, you're a spirit master, how can you be so hungry? This teleportation array is also too much. Why did it have to stop so many times to reach Armament City in one go? I know you get sick from the teleportation array, but won't you suffer less every time? Xiao Hong saw her eating so happily and picked up her chopsticks to eat a chicken leg. I don't have any spirit energy. Sima Yue said, so naturally I feel hungry. Without spirit energy, I can't use the teleportation array for a long time. Clang clang dash, the chicken leg in Xiao Hong's hand fell into the bowl, causing it to overturn. It fell to the ground and rolled twice before stopping. She grabbed Sima Yue's hand and said, Why don't you have any spirit energy? What happened? Don't scare me. Don't overreact. Sima Yue said, I'm fine, I just can't use it temporarily. Really? Xiao Hong didn't believe her. You don't believe Yin Lin's words? If it was Yin Lin who said it, then she would believe him. When did this happen? When I left the immortal realm. Yin Lin said that I got too much inside, so I was punished for a period of time. Sima Yue changed Yin Lin's words to prevent her from asking further. There's such a thing? Xiao Hong found it unbelievable. But he didn't say when you'll recover. No, he said he would recover when he needed to. Sima Yue said, so, since I'm here, shouldn't you treat me well? That's for sure. You're in my territory, so how can I not treat you well? Xiao Hong said with a smile. Since when did Weapon Refining City become your territory? Sima Yue rolled her eyes at her. But that's true. Your father is going to be the president. You're going to turn the world upside down. Don't laugh at me. Xiao Hong said, because I won the refining competition in the Immortal Land, I'm being watched everywhere I go. I don't know what happened, but my relationship with my father was found out. After I came out, the entire guild knew about it. Then, you can imagine what happened after that. Sima Yue looked at her sympathetically. She knew how it felt to be noticed when such a low-profile person went out. But the ceremony is around the corner. Is it good for you to come out like this? She asked. What's not good about it? Xiao Hong said, I just came out to take a breather. You don't know how suffocating I was. So exaggerated? Sima Yue stared. You could have just hid in the house and didn't go out. If I'm in the city, how can I really hide and not come out? Xiao Hong said, besides, the people from those forces come in waves and want to see me. I'm not the kind of panda you're talking about. I'm so annoyed that I have to go out for people to see every time. So you escaped? Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. This girl still remembered what she said. Not really. Xiao Hong said, I told my father and mother that I'm coming to pick you up and they agreed. Your parents really dote on you. Sima Yue exclaimed. Since the people who went before specially asked her to go out, it meant that they still valued her. The inauguration ceremony was around the corner, and there were many things to prepare for the ceremony. Since she was missing, everyone would naturally ask about her. At such a busy time, they were still willing to deal with this. It was enough to show how much they doted on her. Hee, that's right. Otherwise, they wouldn't have allowed me to change my name. When Xiao Hong talked about her parents, a smile appeared on her troubled face. But you can't avoid it. You still have to face it when you go back. Sima Yue said. I've thought about it. I'll say that I want to accompany you. You're my savior, so it's reasonable. Xiao Hong said, I'll treat you well then. Sima Yue suddenly stared at her face and said, Are you being pursued? Xiao Hong suddenly blushed and said, What nonsense are you talking about? Alright, I know from looking at you. Sima Yue said, Don't deny it. Your expression has already betrayed you. Tell me, which genius is bothering you so much that you can't stand it anymore? It's not any genius. It's just those who want to marry me. Humph, they didn't know about my identity and talent in the past. Why didn't they come when I was tall and strong? Now they're here after only 2 months. What's the point of having someone like them? Xiao Hong complained. It's not just that. If that's the case, why were you so shy just now? Sima Yue said, Come, tell me. Do you have your eyes on someone? There's someone who's not bad recently. I'm a little tempted, but I don't know if he's good or not. I'm a little unsure and need to think about it carefully. Chapter 12:38. Sima Yue wanted to see Jun Mou, but she didn't know that he was waiting for her. She also didn't know that she was on the brink of death a few times after seeing him. Because she didn't know, she was still worried about the teleportation array. She was depressed when she thought about how she had to transfer twice and vomit twice. Although Xiao Hong heard that she would get sick from the teleportation array, she hadn't seen it before and didn't know what it was like. So when she saw her vomit after coming out of the teleportation array, she was shocked and distressed. She's like this every time? That's right, Fatty Chu said. So for the past month, she has been vomiting like this. Xiao Hong was touched. This was all because of her. If not for her invitation, Yue wouldn't have come here. No wonder she lost so much weight. If not for me, she wouldn't be like this. She blamed herself. Bei Gongtang had interacted with Xiao Hong for 2 days and liked her personality. Seeing her blaming herself, she said, Yue is willing to do this. Otherwise, with her personality, who could force her to do anything? Don't blame yourself. Xiao Hong nodded, but she still blamed herself. When is she going to stop vomiting? If she's like this when she goes back, how can she bear it? She'll be fine when her spiritual energy recovers. Bei Gongtang said, or we can use a stable teleportation array to see if it works. A stable teleportation array? Will that work? Xiao Hong asked. It should be able to lessen a lot. Bei Gongtang said, she will get sick from the teleportation array because she is too sensitive to space. The teleportation arrays now are unstable. If it's a stable teleportation array, even if it doesn't completely eliminate it, it can lessen a little. Then when you go back, I'll find someone to try it. Xiao Hong said. After Sima Yue vomited, she rested for a day. The next day, she went to Weapon Refining City directly. Originally, they had to transfer one more time to reach the city outside of Weapon Refining City. They had to use a special teleportation array to go there. However, seeing that Sima Yue was having a hard time, Xiao Hong sent someone back to get a temporary teleportation circle and teleported them back. In the past, he had thought that these things were useless. Now that he thought about it, it would be better to bring some with him in the future. Sima Yue did not vomit after coming out of the teleportation portal. Perhaps it was because Xiao Hong had asked her to bring a more stable one. She was just dizzy. The city gate is right in front. Can you still hold on? Xiao Hong asked. Sima Yue could barely support herself with the help of Bei Gongtang and her. Looking at the city wall 100 meters away, she shook her head. Let me rest first. Bei Gongtang took out a pill and fed it to her. She then took out a soft mattress and helped her lie down, saying, rest here first. Sima Yue lay on the bed. Looking at her pale face, Xiao Hong bit her lips and blamed herself. Sima Yue opened her eyes and looked at her. Don't blame yourself. Just give me some nourishment later. Don't talk. Rest well. Xiao Hong said. She secretly told herself that she would treat her well when she entered the city. At this moment, the city gate opened. A luxurious beast carriage ran out. A group of guards came in front of them and said, Miss, the president asked us to bring you back. Father arranged this? Xiao Hong was surprised. The president's wife said that you should have arrived. The president arranged for us to come out of the city to bring you back. She said that if you haven't arrived yet, you should wait. The guard said. My parents must have known when I sent someone back to get the teleportation circle. Since there's a beast carriage now, let's go back first. Xiao Hong said. Sima Yue nodded. Since she agreed, the others naturally agreed as well. Xiao Hong was strong. She carried Sima Yue and placed her on the beast carriage. She then got on the beast carriage with Bei Gongtang. The rest of the people got on the beast carriage at the back. The leader of the guards waved his hand and the spirit beasts slowly drove into the city. At the city gate, although the guards did not know who the people inside were, they knew that they were not ordinary people since they were welcomed. Hence, they respectfully looked at them until they disappeared around the corner. Since Armament City was called this, it was also a city in name. This was because the people here, from the children to the elderly, all knew how to refine armaments. There were not many who did not know how to do business. Because the succession ceremony was about to begin, Armament City was bustling. Because there were many people in the city, people were not allowed to use horse carriages on the streets. Hence, when they saw that there were horse carriages on the streets, everyone was curious. Who's this? They actually dare to use horse carriages at this time? No matter who it is, their identity is definitely not ordinary. Look at those guards, they are all from the Armament Masters Guild. So what if it's the Armament Masters Guild? No matter who she is, I will go up and ask her why we can't use horse carriages but these people can. A woman wearing a long yellow dress came to the street and stood in the middle of the road. She blocked the group's path and shouted, "Stop!" Without the leader of the guard's command, the spirit beasts automatically stopped. "Young Miss Huang, what are you doing?" The leader of the guards asked with a solemn face. "Leader Hao, your Armament Masters Guild said that there are many people in the city and beast carriages are not allowed. Who is this person in the carriage? How can she ignore this rule and use beast carriages on the streets? This is the president's idea. Please move aside, young Miss Huang." Leader Hao said, "The president's idea? Then we are even more curious about this person. For the president to personally send people to pick her up, she must not be in ordinary power, right? What, you don't want to let us know who she is and use this as an excuse to get rid of us?" The woman said mockingly, "If you want to talk about status, who can come here without status?" Xiao Hong pulled open the curtain and poked her head out. She looked at the woman in front and shouted, "Huang Yingying, move aside." "Yo, I was wondering who it was. So it's our young miss who pretends to be low-key. What, didn't you say it was a very important guest? Are you also considered a guest? As the president's daughter, you can't use your power to break the rules." Huang Yingying said with a smile. Didn't you say status just now? My guest's status here is much higher than yours. If you don't move aside now, I can't guarantee that you will be able to stay here until the ceremony begins. Xiao Hong said. You make it sound like I'm scared. Huang Yingying pretended to be scared. Since you said it to be so scary, why didn't you say her identity? A person who doesn't have any spirit energy fluctuations, we are very curious about her noble status. Just based on you, you don't have the qualifications to make her get off the carriage here. Xiao Hong said, wait till you find out about her identity, don't be so ashamed that you want to dig a hole in the ground. Chapter 1239. Everyone disagreed with Xiao Hong's words, because they could feel that the other two people in the carriage, one was just a divine-ranked junior, the other didn't even have any spiritual energy. How could they be important guests? Since you're so powerful, then all the more we have to meet them. Huang Yingying said, why, you don't dare? Or are you saying that there's no one with any status inside? If you say it, I'm afraid you won't be able to walk back. Xiao Hong said contemptuously, Huang Yingying, do you think everyone is like you, only knowing how to ride roughshod over others with your status? Xiao Hong, stop talking nonsense. Huang Yingying said, are you going to say it or not? If you're not going to say it, then don't break the rules, or else we'll have to ask President He if this rule is just a rule. Xiao Hong was so angry that she wanted to vomit blood. If she really went to look for her father, then his prestige would be severely trampled on. Say it. Sima Yue said helplessly, anyway, it's not like I'm shameful. Xiao Hong saw that her silence had already caused the dissatisfaction of the people around her, and they were all clamoring for the president to say it. Now that she got Yue's approval, she said, it's not impossible for you to know, but I'll ask you a question first. Do you know that in the Immortal Land, we met someone from another continent and had a decisive competition? Of course I know. If it wasn't for that competition, would you have your current status? Huang Yingying said. Then do you know the other person who competed with me? Sima Yue, Alchemist Guild's honorary elder, Divine Devil Valley's junior valley master, Heartbreak Valley's vice valley lord, a genius in everything except armament refining. Because she won in arrays and alchemy, we were able to win that competition, in exchange for more than 10 years of stability. Huang Yingying said, you're saying that the person inside is her? That's right. Now that you know, hurry up and get out of the way. Huang Yingying laughed. Xiao Hong, if it's really her, we won't say anything if you give her some courtesy, but just because you say it's her, it's her? Huang Yingying, if you stop us again, I'll get someone to chase you out of the city. Captain Hao, do it. Xiao Hong didn't want to waste time with her and ordered. You can't win an argument, so you want to use force? Is this what the president of the Refiners Guild would do? Huang Yingying said, I only questioned you, and you want to chase me out of the city. Xiao Hong, do you really think that I'm someone with a lower status than you? Huang Yingying's guards rushed out from both sides and stood behind her, looking like they were protecting her as they confronted the Armament Masters Guild's guards. What happened? He Chendong's voice came from behind the crowd. Only then did everyone realize that the president, who could be said to be busy every day, had unknowingly come to the street. Everyone made way for He Chendong and a group of people behind him. Father! Xiao Hong got out of the car and bowed to He Chendong. Father! Huang Yingying called out to a middle-aged man behind He Chendong. Yingying, the Armament Masters Guild is so busy, what trouble have you caused them? Huang Feng asked with a sullen face. I didn't. Huang Yingying said, I just saw someone disregarding President He's orders and using a car in the city, so I stopped them to ask. Nonsense. Since it's the guild's beast carriage, it's naturally a distinguished guest inside. How can you be so reckless? What if you offend them? Huang Feng scolded, then said to He Chendong, I'm usually not strict with Yingying and offended the guild's guests. Please don't be angry with her. It's nothing. He Chendong seemed to have a good relationship with Huang Feng, and he didn't mean to blame Huang Yingying. He cupped his hands towards the carriage and said, Miss Yue, are you okay? His words proved that it was indeed Sima Yue inside and not Xiao Hong who spoke. The curtains opened and Sima Yue came out with the help of Bei Gong Tang. Her pale face and tottering body made everyone immediately understand why they had to use a beast carriage to pick her up. Fatty Chu and the others also came down from the beast carriage behind and came to the front. Yue greets Uncle He. Congratulations on succeeding. Sima Yue bowed to him. He Chendong went forward to help her up and said, Why did you come down? If you're not feeling well, stay up there. Uncle He is an elder. How can Yue not come down from the carriage? Sima Yue followed his hand and got up. How are you feeling? Yue is fine. I'll be fine after resting for a day, Sima Yue said. Dad, why are you here? Xiao Hong asked as she supported Sima Yue. Your Uncle Huang and I happened to pass by and heard the noise here, so we came over to take a look. He Chendong said as he looked at Yue's pale and thin face. You've lost a lot of weight since the last time we parted. I originally wanted to introduce you to Pavilion Master Huang, but I don't think it's a good time now. You can go back to the prepared place to rest first. We'll talk about other things later. Then Yue will take her leave first. Sima Yue bowed to He Chendong and Huang Feng before returning to the beast carriage. Dad, I'll take my leave first. Xiao Hong returned to the carriage. Everyone made way for them and the team started moving again. Yingying, go back and reflect on yourself. Don't be so impulsive again. Huang Feng shouted at Huang Yingying. She's just a junior. Is it worth it? Huang Yingying muttered unwillingly. He's just a junior? Putting everything else aside, just the fact that she's the king of the rocks is enough to dominate the entire mainland. Not to mention the benefits that she brought to the mainland by winning the competition. How dare you quibble? Go back and stay in your own courtyard. Don't come out before the ceremony starts. Dad, hurry up. Huang Ying stomped her feet and ran away, feeling wronged. Although her father didn't discipline her much, he rarely scolded her in public. Now, he actually did this for a junior younger than her. Besides feeling wronged, she also felt hatred towards Sima Yue. Yingying is still young. Why do you have to do this? He Chendong said. She's not young anymore. Look at Yue. Her age is only a fraction of hers. She's so sensible. Sigh, she's been spoiled by her mother. The main characters of the show dispersed. He Chendong waved his hand and the onlookers left. He and Huang Feng also continued to deal with their own matters. In the tea house by the road, Mo Yu and the head of the Jun family sat opposite each other. Master, that's Sima Yue, the head of the Jun family said as he looked at the beast carriage in the distance. Yes. She looks very weak. Mo Yu said, however, I can smell a very delicious soul on her body. No wonder Yudu was killed by her. She must want to eat her soul. Master, do you want to tell Anaheim? The head of the Jun family asked. Chapter 1240. Crazy Wife, Godly Doctor 5th Miss Chapter 1240 The Abnormal Old by Chapter 1240 The Abnormal Old by Chapter 1240 The Abnormal Old by Win/Fan Ribs Chapter Word Count. In the beast carriage, Sima Yue leaned against the soft cushion, looking a little tired. Yue, someone was looking at you just now. Bei Gongtang said. I know. I felt it. There were so many people just now, someone must have been looking at you, Yue, right? It's not the kind of look you're talking about. Bei Gongtang said, it's the kind of gaze that's sizing you up, with a bit of purpose. You guys even know this? Xiao Hong looked at the two of them strangely. I felt it. Sima Yue said, Xiao Hong, what kind of person is Huang Yingying? You two seem to have a special relationship. It's just that Uncle Huang has a good relationship with my family, and she already knew my identity. But because she's older than me, her talent isn't as good as mine, so she always likes to go against me. Xiao Hong said. Then she didn't say anything about your identity? Say what? Others don't know my identity, but they know her identity. Doesn't she have a sense of superiority? Xiao Hong said, but I don't really care about her. I don't even have enough time to learn how to refine weapons. Good attitude. If she fought with someone like Huang Yingying, it wouldn't be worth it. The best way to deal with her was to ignore her. Sima Yue closed her eyes after saying that. Bei Gongtang and Xiao Hong also didn't say anything, letting her rest well. The beast carriage brought them to a courtyard and stopped. Xiao Hong brought them in while the other guards left. I know you like quiet, so I specially asked them to prepare this courtyard. Although it's not big, it's behind the guild, far from the city. It's not far from the guild, Xiao Hong said. Everyone followed her in. Although the courtyard was small, the decorations were very unique. It had a bit of the feeling of Jiangnan in her past life. She liked it at first sight. This courtyard is really exquisite. Does this belong to your guild? Not really. Xiao Hong said, this used to be the courtyard of one of our elders, but she's not here anymore. She heard that the decorations here were all done according to one person's preferences. I've loved this place since I was a child. Unfortunately, I can't ask her who she's here for. Sima Yue subconsciously looked at Bai Sheng, who did not speak much along the way, and saw that his expression was not right. Sure enough, was there something? Yue, I'll bring you to your courtyard so that you can have a good rest, Xiao Hong said after some introductions. Beigong, your courtyard is the same as Yue's. As for the others, it's up to them to decide how to split the two courtyards. I'll take you there now. Sima Yue was not feeling well, so she did not ask about Bai Sheng. She planned to ask him the next day. However, it was only on the eve of the inauguration ceremony that he appeared out of nowhere. Sima Yue only fully recovered after lying in bed for 2 days. However, there were only a few days left before the inauguration ceremony. On this day, Xiao Hong came to look for her early in the morning. The day before, Xiao Hong had come to visit her and they had agreed to go to Weapon Refining City together the next day. Although there were other shops in Weapon Refining City, most of them were raw materials for weapon refining. Because there were many people refining weapons, these raw materials were consumed quickly. Fatty Chu could not move his feet when he saw the equipment. Luckily, he made quite a bit of money from selling weapons and it was enough for him to spend lavishly. Hence, Sima Yue left Wei Ziqi and the rest behind while she, Xiao Hong and Beigong went to the tea house to rest. Little miss, why did you come to the tea house today? The shopkeepers saw Xiao Hong enter and hurriedly came out from behind the counter to greet her. Although they knew that her talent was not bad, they did not know that she was the president's daughter. This time, they had to treat her well. Shopkeeper, are there still any private rooms facing the street? Xiao Hong asked. I'm really sorry. Because there have been too many people coming recently, not to mention the private rooms facing the street, even the private rooms upstairs are already taken. Previously, we did not receive news that Little Miss was coming, so we did not reserve a private room. However, there are still some seats in the main hall, the shopkeeper said apologetically. What should we do? Xiao Hong was in a difficult position. Sima Yue was her friend and her benefactor. She did not like to be surrounded by people, so it would be best if she could be in a private room. However, She would never do anything arrogant and despotic. She did not want to chase those people out and go in herself. Let's go to the main hall then. Anyway, we are waiting for Fatty and the rest here. It won't take long, Sima Yue said. But Xiao Hong felt a little apologetic. Miss Xiao Hong, if you don't mind, why don't you come to our private room? A voice came from upstairs. Xiao Hong's body trembled when she heard this voice. What's wrong? This is the Jun family head's voice, Xiao Hong said. Sima Yue raised an eyebrow. She remembered that she said that the person was called Jun Mou. Could it be that he was from the Jun family? That person will be here too? She asked softly. Xiao Hong nodded. Usually, he will be wherever the Jun family head is. Didn't you want me to help you check out that person? Since we are here, why don't we go up and take a look? Sima Yue said. There was no response from upstairs, so he asked again, Miss Xiao Hong, are you not willing to drink tea with this old man? Uncle Jun's words make Xiao Hong feel ashamed. Since Uncle Jun has invited me, Xiao Hong will naturally bring my friends up, Xiao Hong said. She waved her hand and the shopkeeper retreated to the side. Then, she brought Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang upstairs to their private room. They knocked on the door and it was opened from the inside. A guard in black stepped back expressionlessly and let them in. He then closed the door and retreated to the side. Sima Yue frowned slightly when she walked past him. Uncle Jun, Brother Jun, Xiao Hong bowed to the two of them. Sima Yue realized that this girl's voice became softer after she entered the private room. Greetings to the Jun family head. Sima Yue and Bei Gongtang only bowed slightly. They did not know each other and were not their elders. There was no need for them to bow to them. This must be Miss Yue, whose name has shaken the entire continent, right? Meeting you today, you really live up to your reputation. The Jun family head smiled as he looked at Sima Yue. Jun family head is too kind. Yue is just a junior. How could she deserve such praise from the Jun family head? Sima Yue smiled faintly. Don't just stand there. We just brewed a pot of tea. Come and have a taste. The Jun family had invited. Sima Yue and the other two sat down. Xiao Hong took a sip of the tea and praised, Good tea. I didn't know that Miss Xiao Hong knew how to taste tea. Since you said that this tea is good, can you tell me what's good about it? The Jun family had asked. Download address, mobile reading. Chapter 1241. Xiao Hong was startled. She had only casually praised him, but he had actually asked her what was good about him? Xiao Hong is an uncouth person. She only knows how to drink and not how to speak. If she speaks, then Yue is the master of tea. She kicked the ball to Sima Yue. Oh! Junwei shifted his gaze to Sima Yue. Yue knows how to taste tea too? I know a thing or two. Give it a try then. Sima Yue smelled the tea that Mou handed to her. She sniffed it gently and took a sip. She originally wanted to discuss this tea, but when the words reached her mouth, she changed it into a poem that she had heard before. The iron-colored wrinkled leather belt is filled with the beauty of poetry. The root of the tongue has not tasted the innocence, but the nose has already smelled the sacred fragrance. Xiao Hong and Master Jun didn't quite understand what Sima Yue said, but Mou understood what she meant. He was a knowledgeable fellow. Tiguanyin tea is very simple to brew. This cup of tea is also mellow and sweet. However, because the water temperature and brewing time are not enough, the taste of this tea is affected and the fragrance of this tea is not fully displayed. Junwei and Mou's expressions changed slightly, especially Mou. This tea was the best tea he had found in the mortal realm this time. It was even more delicious than the teas before. In order to brew its fragrance, he lived with those tea farmers for more than a year. He only left when he felt that he had brewed enough tea. But she said that she didn't do a good job? So you're saying that you're very good at making tea? Mou said faintly. It was hard to tell whether he was happy or angry, but it made the Jun family's head's heart skip a beat. A little. Sima Yue said. Since that's the case, why don't you brew a pot of tea for everyone? Sima Yue thought for a while and said, Okay. Mou handed the tea set to her, but she declined. I prefer to use my own tea set. With a wave of her hand, a full set of tea sets appeared on the table. Then she began to make tea. Mou saw that her tea set was not inferior to his own and knew that she was also a tea lover. The rudeness in his heart towards her just now disappeared by more than half. What he didn't know was that Yue didn't like tea at first. It was because Wu Lingyu liked it that she knew many ways to make tea. She would make tea for him from time to time, and that was how she slowly fell in love with tea. In the past, she preferred to drink. Boil the water, pick the tea, brew the tea, wash the cups, and finally soak the tea. After waiting for 10 seconds, pour the tea into small cups, and then use a pair of tweezers to place it in front of everyone. Please. She picked up a cup for herself and sniffed it. A satisfied smile appeared on her face. Mou's group of 4 had never seen such a brewing method before. Seeing that small cup of tea, they picked it up somewhat curiously. Mou sniffed lightly and said, "The golden color of the eyes is like amber. It smells like a natural fragrance, but I don't know how it tastes." "You'll know after tasting it. What's the difference between my tea and yours?" Sima Yue drank the tea and was in a good mood. Mou didn't think that the tea she brewed would be better than the tea he brewed, although it did smell good. However, after he drank it, he immediately overturned his thoughts. For people like them who were well versed in tea, even if there was a slight difference, they would be able to taste it. Not to mention, this tea was obviously much better than the one he brewed. What kind of tea brewing method is this? Kung Fu tea. Sima Yue saw that he had finished drinking, so she used a pair of tweezers to pick up the cup and refilled it for him. Then she handed it to him. She was already very beautiful, and her movements were so elegant. Her faint aura made him feel that drinking tea with her was a kind of enjoyment. Kung Fu tea. He picked up the teacup and looked at it. Then he looked at her and said, "Can you teach me? This Kung Fu tea isn't difficult. I think you should be able to understand it after watching me perform it." Sima Yue said, "But if there's a single mistake in this tea, it will ruin the entire cup of tea. I want to know how precise each step has to be." Mou said, "Miss Yue, during this period of time, can I look for you to discuss the art of tea?" Sima Yue was startled. They didn't seem to be familiar with each other. "I'm sorry, Before she finished speaking, she felt Xiao Hong's pleading gaze. She immediately changed her words and said, "Since that's the case, Yue would also like to discuss it with young Master Jun." They stayed in the tea house for a while longer. When they saw Fatty Chu and the rest coming out of the shop, they said, "Jun family head, my friends are out. We'll take our leave first." Xiao Hong looked at Mou with some reluctance and said, "Jun family head, young Master Jun, we'll take our leave first. Take care, 3 ladies." Sima Yue and the rest came out of the private room. The smile on her face slowly faded. Bei Gongtang looked at her and didn't say anything. "Xiao Hong, we've been shopping for a long time today. Let's go back," Sima Yue said after they left the tea house. Xiao Hong saw that her expression wasn't right and said, "Are you angry?" Sima Yue said, "I understand that you want to interact with him more. I'm not angry. I'm just a little tired." "That's true. We've been shopping for a long time this year. I'll send you back then," Xiao Hong said. Sima Yue wanted to say that there was no need, but she was afraid that she was too abnormal and would make her suspect something, so she agreed. In the private room, Jun Wei and Mou were still tasting tea. "Master, why didn't you kill her?" "If Anaheim knew, would she be angry?" Jun Wei asked. "I told her before that I was only going to help her investigate what kind of person this person was. I didn't promise to help her take revenge." Mou said, "Wouldn't it be a pity to kill a person with such a high level of difference? The tea she makes is indeed extraordinary." Jun Wei was very sure about this. He was often tasted by Mou's tea and was already picky with the tea he made. Ordinary tea wouldn't enter his eyes. To be honest, the tea made by Sima Yue was indeed better than the tea made by his master. It's rare to meet such a powerful person. If I don't learn properly, wouldn't I have wasted my time in the human world? Master is right. Xiao Hong sent them to the place where they stayed before going back. She smiled happily at the thought of seeing Mou often in the future. Sima Yue waited for her to leave before entering the door with Bei Gong Tang and the rest with a sullen face. Fatty Chu and the rest saw Sima Yue's expression change and asked, "What's wrong?" "That Jun Mou is abnormal." Sima Yue said, "He's from the Ghost Clan and is very powerful. When we were in the private room, I felt a flash of murderous intent towards me." "Ghost Clan? How do you know?" "Qin Yi said so." Sima Yue said, "And I feel like he knows me." "Why did you agree to let such a person into the residence? If I rejected him, I might not be able to walk out of that private room." Chapter 1242. Even until now, Sima Yu seemed to be able to feel the way Mou looked at her inadvertently. Although there was no strong killing intent, it was enough for people like them to not show their anger. "Is the Jun family also part of the Ghost Clan?" Bei Gong Tang asked. "I don't know if he's from the Ghost Clan, but did you notice that although he's sitting in the main seat, his words and actions reveal his respect for him? This means that the other party's status is higher than his. He shouldn't be from the Jun family." Sima Yue said, "If you agree to such a dangerous person, what if he wants to kill you when he comes looking for you?" Fatty Chu asked. "Since he let me go today, he won't kill me for now." Sima Yue said, "But I'll have to ask Qing Yi for help next time." Right now, Qing Yi was probably the only one who was a match for him. "Right, where's old Bai?" "I don't know. I haven't seen him in the past few days." Wei Ziqi said. "I feel like old Bai has something on his mind," Ouyang Fei said. "I noticed that his expression wasn't right after he came here that day." "Old Bai is a man with a story. Perhaps his story is related to this place." Sima Yue said. "How do you know?" Fatty Chu asked. "When Xiao Yi came to deliver the invitation card, I noticed that old Bai's expression changed when he heard about the Armament Masters Guild. I asked him to protect me. At that time, he was a little hesitant. He wanted to come but didn't want to. So I guess it has something to do with this place. Could it be related to the owner of this place?" Bei Gong Tang asked. "That female refiner elder? I'll ask Xiao Hong about this elder later." Sima Yue said. "You, is that Mou really alright?" Sima Yulin was still very worried. "As long as he's from the Ghost Clan and I'm prepared, he won't be able to kill me so quickly." Sima Yue said, "After all, Qi Yan's flame is their nemesis. I don't think Qing Yi will watch me get killed. Even if he doesn't make a move, the other party won't know. Therefore, his existence is a form of intimidation." Sima Yue said, "Besides, since he's using the Jun family as a cover, it means that he doesn't want his identity as a ghost to be known. He definitely won't act recklessly." "Did he say when he would come to discuss tea art with you?" Sima Yue shook her head. Although the other party did not say anything, she could roughly guess that it could happen any time in the next few days. Although she thought so, she still did not expect that Mou would come to find her so early. When Mou arrived, he did not announce his arrival, nor did he take the usual route. Instead, he went directly to Sima Yue's courtyard, and she was having her breakfast happily. When Mou saw the tall stack of bowls on her table, he was stunned for a moment before he understood. Sima Yue was eating the last mouthful of porridge when she saw Mou suddenly appear. She almost choked to death and coughed violently. Why are you here?" She felt that her throat was hurting from coughing, but it was not as strong as the shock in her heart. Mou's face darkened immediately. "Didn't we agree to discuss tea art?" Cough cough. "But you don't have to come so early, right?" Sima Yue was choked and glared at him. Now that Qing Yi was outside, she did not have to worry about him so much. Plus, she was choked so badly, so she was a little angry. "The sun is already up in the sky," Mou said. "But you shouldn't have come in directly, right? Why didn't anyone inform you?" Sima Yue said again. "It's troublesome to go through the main door." Mou said, "All right, you're done eating. Let's discuss tea art." Although she cursed in her heart, she still obediently brought him to a small pavilion by the lake in the courtyard. Although Xiao Hong said that this courtyard was small, it was only compared to other courtyards. This courtyard was still very big. At least there was a front yard, a backyard, and a scenic lake. This pavilion was a little far from where she lived. Because she did not have spiritual power, they walked for more than 10 minutes before they arrived. Why did you come here? Emma asked. This pavilion is on the fake mountain by the lake. The scenery is the best. Sima Yue said. She would not tell him that she walked so far just to let others know that he was here. Mou saw that the scenery was indeed good, so he did not think about anything else. He grabbed her shoulder and jumped, bringing her to the pavilion. No one had come to the pavilion for a long time, so the stone table and stone bench were covered in dust. Mou frowned. With a wave of his hand, the dust was swept away. Sima Yue pursed her lips. Luckily this guy did not ask her to wipe the dust. Please. Mou casually chose a seat and sat down. Seeing that Sima Yue was still standing there, he said. Sima Yue went to face him and looked at him, saying, You want to learn Kung Fu tea? I want to learn the tea art that you know. Mou said. Then you will have to learn for a long time. Sima Yue said, There are several brewing methods for each type of tea, and each method has different requirements for different types of tea. This is not something that can be learned in a short time. Then I will follow you and slowly learn until I learn everything. Sima Yue pursed her lips. He really had the bad temper of those almighty people. He did whatever he wanted to do. I think that if you know too much, you will lose the heart to taste tea. If young Master Mou really likes tea, you don't have to be so serious about it, especially about tea. She advised. How could Mou not understand Sima Yue's meaning? Wasn't she telling him to get lost if he learned Kung Fu tea? Life is too long. You have to find a hobby for yourself. Mou said, Although this tea art is very deep, but compared to the long life, it is just a drop in the ocean. Didn't this mean that I have all the time? She looked at him and wanted to ask, Aren't you going back to the ghost realm? Aren't you afraid of being found out by the human realm? How could she do anything if he was by her side? Don't be unwilling. Mou said, What you need to do now is to please me. Why should I? Sima Yue sneered. The thing that she would never do in her life was to please others. Because your information is now in my hands. The daughter of the Dark Princess, Anaheim, asked me to get your information. It would be best if I can kill you directly. Sima Yue's fingers curled, and her heart sank. This Mou really knew a lot of things. No wonder he looked at her with killing intent. Nervous? Mou said, You should be glad that you know the art of tea, so I don't want to kill you for the time being. So, why don't you hurry up and please me? Sima Yue took a deep breath and said, Pleasing people is something that I left in my mother's womb. If you really want to learn the art of tea, I have my requirements. Chapter 1243. A dark light flashed in Mou's eyes. He had been in the mortal realm for so many years and had heard a lot about her. Of course, most of these rumors were investigated by people. From the information he received, although this little girl was young, her guts weren't small at all. How could a person who had done so many things be a coward? Therefore, he was only surprised for a moment that she wanted to make a request in such a situation. Tell me, what do you want? If you're only here to discuss Kung Fu tea with me, I'd be more than happy to oblige. If you want to learn from me, I'm sorry, but I only teach my own disciples. Sima Yue shrugged helplessly. Mou's face turned even darker. His body's hostility was exposed, and the entire pavilion was wrapped up in a gale. Sima Yue remained calm. Although the wind was so strong that it made it difficult for her to breathe, she was not frightened. Aren't you afraid that I will kill you? Or are you saying that I can't bear to kill you because you know the art of tea? Mou's voice was filled with killing intent. It could be said that if Sima Yue said anything wrong, he would immediately take her life. Even Anaheim had to give in to him, and no one in the entire ghost realm dared to disobey him. How dare a silly little girl say such words to him? Can't bear to kill me? The moment Sima Yue spoke, The wind rushed into her mouth. Since when did a member of the ghost clan have such a reluctant heart? Looks like you do know a little. I thought you had something to rely on, so you were indulging in fantasy. He retracted his aura, and the surrounding wind instantly stopped. Sima Yue did not let her guard down because of this. You're right, but you're also wrong. What's right and what's wrong? I do have something to rely on. You're right. However, my request is not a whimsical one. Sima Yue said, if you don't want to be my disciple, you won't be able to kill me and you won't be able to learn any skills. After saying that, she glanced at the lake and smiled confidently. Mou followed her gaze and looked over. By the lake, Little Seven and Little Dream were playing. Qing Yi was looking at them dotingly. Feeling Mou's gaze, Qing Yi turned her head slightly. Their eyes met, but in that instant, it felt like 10,000 years. So there is such a powerful person here. No wonder you're not as obedient as you were yesterday. Mou retracted his gaze, his expression not looking good. Sima Yue smiled. Thank you, young Master Mou, for showing mercy yesterday. You're threatening me. Mou was in a very bad mood. How many years had it been? He had already forgotten the taste of being threatened. I'm not threatening you. Sima Yue took out a tea set and boiled some water. She then made a cup of tea guanyin for both of them. This method was the same as the one he used yesterday, but he could smell that the fragrance was stronger than the one he used yesterday. Please. Smelling the fragrance of the tea, the anger in his heart instantly dissipated by quite a bit. He picked up the teacup and took a sip. He wanted to see if the tea she brewed using the same method would taste better than the one he brewed. The answer was self-evident. Each of them held a cup of tea and tasted it. The pavilion quieted down for a moment. The strong killing intent and the raging wind just now seemed to have never existed. After drinking a cup of tea, Sima Yue refilled it with boiling water. You win. After a long time, he opened his mouth and said helplessly, Then I wonder which path young Master Mou chose? Sima Yue asked with a smile. Like you, I won't choose any path. Mou said, but I can promise you that I won't kill you. No. It seems that young Master Mou doesn't understand what I mean. It's not that you don't want to kill me, but that you can't kill me. I think we've already understood this before. Sima Yue said, what we want to talk about now is whether we should continue to discuss the art of tea, how to discuss it, in the short term or in the long term. What do you think? Mou sniffed the tea. Even if it was the second cup, it was still so intoxicating. If it's according to my idea, then naturally after today's discussion, young Master Mou will let go of me, a little human, and we won't have any contact with each other in the future. I'll teach you this Kung Fu tea and today's tea brewing technique. Sima Yue said. You don't want to be involved with me. Mou said with certainty. Young Master Mou is a sensible person. Although I don't know what your identity is, but since you can say Anaheim's name so naturally, I think your relationship shouldn't be bad. And I killed her son. If you pester me, I think it's too dangerous. Aren't you sure that I can't kill you? The danger I'm talking about is that you'll bring me too much trouble. And although I'm not afraid of trouble, I've never liked to deal with trouble. So, it's best not to be with you. Sima Yue said straightforwardly. Hee. Mou chuckled. She was indeed her daughter. Her courage was big enough. Aren't you afraid that I'll send news of you back? If that's the case, I'm afraid you won't have any peace in the future. Even if those from the Ghost Clan can come here, not many of them are as powerful as you, right? Sima Yue said, if that's the case, then I'll kill as many as they come. Anyway, those who want to kill me, I'll never be lenient. For example, you do? Sima Yue shrugged, which was considered a tacit agreement. But I'm not talking about your news. Mou said. You're saying, that's right. If those from the ghost realm know that your mother is Yukuluo, what do you think your life will be like in the future? Sima Yue was somewhat helpless. She was still unable to restrain the aura of the ghost clan, so those powerful people could sense that she had the royal bloodline. Thinking about her age, it was easy to guess whose child she was. Isn't it just being known? Anyway, they can't do anything to my mother. As for me, I'll go to the ghost realm sooner or later. Sima Yue did not take his threat seriously. Although it was not good for her identity to be exposed now, she would not be afraid just because she was her mother's daughter. You're quite open-minded. Mou looked at her. After only 10 minutes of interaction, he understood her a lot more. Now that I can't do anything, I can only control my own heart. Sima Yue poured tea for herself. How many tea brewing methods do you know? I know more than you. Sima Yue said, how about it? Do you want to consider being my disciple? Hee, I'm afraid you don't have the life to be my master. Mou said, my life is tough, I'm the bane of masters. His masters were really all dead. Is that so? Sima Yue laughed, my life is even tougher. Those who aren't my bane can't be my disciple. Chapter 1244. In the end, the two of them did not become master and disciple. Sima Yue had never intended to accept him as her disciple. She was not the type of person who would accept anyone as her disciple. She was just using it as a stalling tactic. After that, Mou promised that he wouldn't do anything to her, nor would he send news of her back. Finally, when he promised to protect her safety during this period of time, the two finally reached an agreement. Although she didn't know if she could trust him, this was the best she could do for now. Since we have reached an agreement, can we begin? Mou asked. Sure. Sima Yue was in a good mood after dealing with the other party. She took out the tea and water that she had prepared and showed him how to make kung fu tea. She also told him what he needed to pay attention to when making Tai Guanyin with kung fu tea. Mou really liked tea, so when Sima Yue talked about it, he listened very carefully and remembered everything she said. However, it still tasted like the tea brewed by 1,000 people. Although he followed her instructions to brew the tea, it was still not as fragrant as the tea brewed by her. You'll know after soaking a few more times. Sima Yue said. In fact, the difference between the two of them was only a tiny bit. Most people would not be able to tell. However, for those who love tea, this was a huge difference. Therefore, Mou had always been dissatisfied with the tea he brewed, so he had been practicing the whole morning, causing her to drink a lot of tea. Unfortunately, the tea didn't fill her up. After drinking the tea, she still wanted to eat lunch. However, from the looks of it, the other party didn't seem to have any intention of leaving. Mou, you've been drinking all morning. Haven't you had enough? Then continue on your own. I'm going to do my own thing. Sima Yue said. What are you trying to do? Humans are made of iron and rice is made of steel. I'm now a normal person who can't use spiritual energy. If I don't eat, I'll be hungry. Sima Yue said, so you can continue making tea here. I'm going to cook. Can the things you make be eaten? Mou said, why don't we eat outside? Sima Yue was stunned. Had this guy changed? Unfortunately, she didn't like the things outside. I prefer to cook for myself. If you want to leave, remember to use the main gate. I won't see you out. She jumped down from the top in a few steps and walked towards her own courtyard. She really left Mou behind. After drinking tea for the whole morning, she had some understanding of him. The more powerful a person was, the less likely he was to kill people. Since they had reached an agreement, he would not care about her until he learned her tea art. Of course, the most important reason why she ran so fast was because she had been drinking tea all morning. She had long wanted to pee, but the other party was a man, so she couldn't say anything. AI. It's really inconvenient without spiritual power. When she came out of the room with a sigh, she saw Mou standing in the courtyard and was shocked. Why are you still here? I'll wait for you. We'll continue in the afternoon. Mou said. Tea addict. She sighed in a low voice and walked towards the kitchen. Mou followed her in. Seeing her skillfully cooking, he said, you actually know how to cook. Just like tea, it's a great hobby. Yu Luo doesn't know how to cook. Sima Yue's hand paused. She turned around and looked at him. Are you close to my mother? Not really, we've met a few times. Oh. Sima Yue turned around and continued. If he wasn't close, then there was no need to ask. Alright, do you want to eat together? If he wanted to eat, she had to make more. Otherwise, if she didn't prepare anything for him and he wanted to eat, she wouldn't be able to fill her stomach. Mou sat down at the dining table. He was originally waiting for her, but when he smelled the food she made, it seemed to be quite fragrant. You can have some. Sima Yue originally planned to make 5 dishes. Now that he wanted to eat, in order to prevent herself from not being full, she took out a whole duck and made a roast duck. Then she took out 3 kilograms of spirit beast meat and made 3 more dishes. Fortunately, her divine sense was still there, so she could cook several dishes at the same time. Therefore, 7 dishes, 1 braised meat, and 1 roast duck were all prepared in less than an hour. Mou saw that she made so many dishes in such a short time and knew that she must have cooked frequently. Other people's divine sense was used for cultivation, but she was using it for cooking. Sima Yue placed all the dishes on the table. Then, she scooped a bowl of rice for each of them and started to eat. It was already past lunchtime, and she was already hungry. She was dragged to have tea with him after breakfast. She was so nervous that she forgot to eat her elixirs. Now, her chest was sticking to her back. This body of hers. Fortunately, her culinary skills were not bad. Otherwise, she really didn't know how to survive this period of time. Mou saw that she was enjoying the food, so he picked up his chopsticks and tasted it. He wasn't the kind of person who liked to eat, so he planned to stop after tasting a little. However, after the first bite, his chopsticks didn't stop eating. Although his speed wasn't fast, he didn't eat any less than Sima Yue. For example, he ate half of the roast duck. He ate nearly 2 kilograms of the braised beast meat. He also ate about half of the other dishes. When the 2 of them finished eating, there were only empty plates left on the table. Sima Yue glanced at him. This guy's speed wasn't fast, so how did he eat so much? Luckily, she had the foresight to prepare more. Otherwise, it wouldn't be enough. She rubbed her stomach. It seemed like she wasn't full, so she took out a pill that Bei Gong Tang refined for her and ate it. Seeing that Mou was looking at the pill in her hand, she shook it and said, "It's all because you ate too much. I'm not full yet. This pill is for replenishing energy. You have pills, why do you still need to eat? It's probably a psychological effect." She kept the pill, although eating pills is useful. If you don't eat, you will feel hungry. Also, pills don't have any taste, so you don't feel anything when you eat them. It's better to eat. Your appetite for food is so strong. You're different from your mother. Mou said. Sima Yue didn't know how outstanding her mother was. Everyone would compare her to her mother. Didn't you eat more than half of it just now? Your appetite for food is so strong too. Sima Yue said. Since you're done eating, let's continue discussing tea. Mou didn't answer her question. He got up and left. Sima Yue pouted at his back. She kept the plates in her spirit pagoda. Naturally, someone would help her wash them. The 2 of them came to the pavilion again. Not long after, Xiaohong came. Seeing that Mou was here, her eyes were filled with joy and admiration. Sima Yue sighed in her heart. Xiaohong, if you knew his identity, would you still be like this? This book came from. Chapter 1245. Crazy Wife. Miracle Doctor 5th Missy Mou was very cold to Xiaohong. He answered every 10 questions she asked. However, he was much more patient with Sima Yue. He would even take the initiative to talk to her. Even though Xiaohong was a carefree person, she understood something after spending half a day with him. She left early in the evening, saying that she had something to do. Sima Yue looked at her fleeing figure and shook her head helplessly. Although she would be sad for a few days now, it was better than being hurt when she found out about his identity. In the following days, Xiaohong came less often, and she would always come when Mou was not around. Once Mou came, she would leave. Sima Yue complained to Mou when she was drinking tea. It was all because of him that she could not talk to Xiaohong properly these few days, and she did not have time to ask her about the elder. "You have seriously affected my life," she complained. After a few days of interaction, They had become familiar with each other. She knew his identity, the leader of the #1 family in the ghost world. His strength was second only to the royal family, and he was much stronger than Anaheim's family. Therefore, Anaheim tried to rope him in. She knew that he had a perverted love for tea, so she sent people to the human world to get him good tea. He did not like to owe people favors, so he helped Anaheim with a lot of ideas. In the eyes of outsiders, the two of them were very close. However, in Mou's eyes, it was just a deal. This was what he told her when they were drinking tea. Knowing that he was not really on Anaheim's side, she was more open. Since Anaheim could use tea to get him to help, she could also use tea to attract him to her side. Mou saw that Sima Yue was braver every time they interacted, so she was not afraid of him anymore. Otherwise, why would she complain about him? He skillfully brewed the kung fu tea. His elegant movements were more pleasing to the eye than hers. How did I affect your life? How is it not affected? Xiao Hong doesn't play with me anymore. Sima Yue said. She is the president's daughter. The day after tomorrow is the succession ceremony, so she naturally has to help. Mou said disapprovingly. But I have something to ask her. She runs away quickly every time she sees you. You've severely hurt her maiden heart. It's better than hurting her life. Mou said, I don't like people pestering me. If it makes me impatient, I'll deal with it directly. So you should be glad that she gave up early. Sima Yue looked at his expression and knew that he was not exaggerating. What do you want to ask her? You don't know about their union, Sima Yue said. Then I really can't help you. Mou said. No, you can, Sima Yue said. As long as you don't look for me, I can chat with Xiao Hong for the whole day. In the end, she was still dissatisfied with him for making her drink tea for 2 days and did not want to accompany him anymore. Why don't we rest for 2 days? Anyway, you won't be leaving anytime soon. Sima Yue said, you have to give me some time to settle my own matters. Mou saw her blinking at him, as if she wanted him to agree. After a moment of silence, he said, you don't have to drink tea, but I want to go with you and see what you want to do. Because you said that I'm in charge of your safety now. I have to know what you want to do so that I can take better precautions. Mou said matter-of-factly. He would not say that he was more interested in her after a few days of interaction. He wanted to see who was more powerful between her and her mother. Sima Yue stared at him. Was this guy crazy? But she could not persuade him because she could not beat him. So, in the end, she did not have the right to decide. But the good thing was that she did not have to drink tea all day. The next day, without drinking tea, Sima Yue finally found Bai Sheng. No, it was through the scarlet bees that she got news of him and found him. But, at that time, his situation was not good and he was being chased by people. Sima Yue brought Little Seven and the rest. It was Little Seven and the rest who brought her to the place where Bai Sheng was being chased. She saw that he was surrounded by more than 10 people of similar strength, and he was already injured. Damn, you dare to kill my old Bai, see how I deal with you. Little Seven and Bai Sheng's relationship was better. Seeing that he was injured, she was furious. She threw Sima Yue aside and flew over. Little Dream and Hua Hua also rushed over. The other party was not weak. Little Seven could deal with them, but with the injured Bai Sheng, it was a little dangerous. Qing Yi and Mou stood together with her. Although they did not form a protective circle, the energy dissipated automatically when it reached them. Sima Yue felt for the first time that it was good to stand together with such powerful people. On the other side, Little Seven and the rest quickly took care of the people. They killed a few and spared a few. The ones who were spared were kept in Huahua's bud. Sima Yue walked over and saw Bai Sheng taking out a pill and eating it. Her face darkened and she did not say a word. Bai Sheng saw her like that and knew that she was really angry. He opened his mouth but nothing came out. Old Bai, who are these people? Why did they fight? Little Seven asked with concern. Let's talk when we get back. Sima Yue saw that there were many people around and thought that it was not good to question him in public in the weapon refining city. Before she left, she casually set a fire. Little Birdie went to burn those people's corpses and brought back their space rings. Sima Yue looked at the space rings that little birdie placed on her hand and pursed her lips. Who did it learn this from? If anyone wants to find old Bai, I think it won't be hard to find our place to stay. She kept the space rings and said casually. Then the group of people left the street. Her words were for the power behind her to hear. The corpses were burned for them to see. Since you dare to kill my people, then I'll kill your people too. These people were all very strong. If they were burned and captured by her in front of so many people, the person behind this would definitely be angered to death. When they returned to the courtyard, Fatty Chu and the rest surrounded them. How is it, are you okay? Bei Gongtang saw that Bai Sheng's clothes were stained with blood and asked. It shouldn't be a big problem. Sima Yue said, let's go to the living room to talk. She walked 2 steps and stopped. She said to Mou, shouldn't you go back? I feel that I should stay and watch the show. Mou said, who knows, you might need my help. Sima Yue glanced at him and understood what he meant. You can't watch the show for free. After she said that, she brought everyone to the living room. Old Bai, why didn't you contact us? If I didn't send my bees to find you, do you know what the consequences would be? Chapter 1246. Bai Sheng remained silent. How was he going to explain his feelings? Talk about what happened back then? Old Bai, we all know you have something on your mind, but you shouldn't have stopped contacting us. Little Seven said, you don't know how worried Yu was about you. Knowing that you didn't come back for 2 days, she immediately sent the bees out to look for you. If you're being hunted, you should have contacted us. Sima Yue's face darkened at the thought of this. If they had been any later, he might have died. Who are those people? A few are from the Sage Pavilion, a few are from the Wu clansmen, and one is from the Armament Masters Guild. Bai Sheng said, Wu clan? A power from the inner regions? Sima Yu asked. Their power is slightly higher than the Sima family. Bai Sheng said, now you should tell us about yourself, right? Is it related to the Armament Masters Guild? Bai Sheng sighed and slowly told everyone about what happened back then. More than 100 years ago, Bai Sheng met the youngest and most beautiful elder of the Armament Masters Guild, Shangguan Wanqing. Even though they were enemies at the start, they eventually became lovers. Originally, falling in love was a matter between 2 people, but when it came to them, it became a matter between all parties. Although Old Bai was strong, he relied on his own talent. He didn't have any powerful backing behind him. On the other hand, Shangguan Wanqing was born in a big family in the inner region and was also an elder of the Refiners Guild. The 2 of them were not compatible. Therefore, the matter between the 2 of them was strongly opposed by the family. They were determined not to let them be together and even wanted to break up the couple. The Armament Masters Guild also didn't approve of them being together, but at that time, the president was more open-minded and didn't interfere too much in their affairs. But later on, he also didn't come forward to support them. Other than these 2 parties, there was an even bigger obstacle, and that was the young master of the Wu family, Wu Qing, who was madly in love with Shangguan Wanqing. When Wu Qing found out that the 2 of them were together, he sent a lot of people to kill them. He didn't expect that they would be killed by Bai Sheng in the end. The Wu clan was extremely sad and decided that they must kill Bai Sheng and Shangguan Wanqing. Wu Qing had an uncle, who was an elder with a rather high position in the Sage Pavilion. He had doted on Wu Qing since he was young. Knowing that his nephew had been killed, it was impossible for him to be forgiven. As a result, during that period of time, the 2 of them had to face the pursuit of the Wu clan and the Sage Pavilion, as well as the interference of the Shangguan clan. Before Shangguan Wanqing was killed, the Shangguan family had found her and promised to let Bai Sheng go as long as she returned. However, the 2 of them had experienced so many hardships. How could they be willing to give up? Even if they were to die, they would die together. But the final outcome made people sigh. Shangguan Wanqing died, and although Old Bai was seriously injured, he was saved by the people of Blood Fiend City and brought back. Since then, he had been living in the city. Occasionally he would go out, but because of the poison in his body, he had to go back. Until Sima Yue went to Blood Fiend City and changed his life. After listening to his narration, everyone was infuriated, but they also felt sorry for his past experiences. If he was someone with status, why would he end up like this? Most likely, the Shangguan clan would love to have him as their son-in-law. Who poisoned you? Sima Yu asked. The Wu clan. Bai Sheng said. The people who killed you today were from the Wu clan and the Sage Pavilion. Looks like they've all come to Armament City. Yang Fei said. What's up with that person from the Armament Masters Guild? Was he sent by the guild? Fatty Chu asked. I don't think so. Old Bai said, that person has a good relationship with Wu Qing and is closer to the Wu clan. At this time, I think the Armament Masters Guild shouldn't have the time to participate in this matter. This should be a personal matter. Is that person from the Armament Masters dead? Sima Yue asked. Hua Hua threw out a flower and spat out the person inside. It was one of the stewards from the Armament Masters Guild. Because he was poisoned by the flower, he was already unconscious. Will he die? Fatty Chu asked. Hua Hua has many types of poisons. It depends on which one she uses on him. He won't die for now, but he won't feel good either. Hua Hua said. The other two powers are easy to deal with, but what about this person? Bei Gong Tang looked at Sima Yue. As for the other two powers, the Sage Pavilion didn't have a good relationship with them. When the people from the Sage Pavilion were killed in Wenhai Little Realm, they were destined to be enemies. As for the Wu clan, they didn't have any contact with them. But because of Old Bai's matter, they probably wouldn't make peace. So, if they shed all pretense of cordiality, then so be it. It was inevitable anyway. But the Armament Masters Guild was different. In any case, they were in their territory and had come to congratulate them. If they caused trouble, wouldn't it make things difficult for them? In any case, she had some relationship with He Qindong and Xiao Hong. She looked at the unconscious person on the ground and thought about how to deal with this person. It wasn't easy to kill him, but she also didn't want to let him go. It's really a little difficult. She sighed deeply. However, before she could make a decision, someone came to make it for her. Miss Yue, the president is here. A maid ran over. Although this was the Armament Master City, and the people here were all from the Armament Masters Guild, they were the ones living in this courtyard. Out of courtesy, they had to announce their arrival. Sima Yue glanced at the person on the ground and stood up to welcome them. They had just reached the courtyard when they saw He Qindong, Xiao Hong and a few people from the Armament Masters Guild walking in. Greetings to Uncle He. Sima Yue bowed slightly to He Qindong and asked, Tomorrow is the inauguration ceremony. Why is Uncle He here at this time? I'm here to check on your situation. He Qindong said, I already know about what happened in the East Main Street. Are you all okay? We're fine. Sima Yue said, Uncle He, please come in. Everyone returned to the living room. The first thing they saw was the manager of the Armament Masters Guild lying on the ground at the entrance. Then, they saw Mou leisurely sitting on the chair and drinking tea. Uncle He, I was still thinking about how to deal with this person just now. Since he's from the Armament Masters Guild, now that you're here, I'll hand him over to you. Sima Yue and He Qindong sat on the main seat. As for this person who wasn't very important, she might as well return him to He Qindong. Although this person is from the Armament Masters Guild, but for him to take action against a guest without permission, no matter what the reason is, it is unforgivable. When I bring him back, I will definitely punish him properly and give you an explanation. He Qindong said seriously. Sima Yue's smile widened. Since he said that, she could understand his attitude towards this matter. Then it would be much more convenient for her to deal with the following matters. Chapter 1247. Crazy Wife. 5th Miss Divine Doctor, Yu, do you know who you killed on the streets today? He Qindong asked. I do. Sima Yue said. Then are you worried? I'm worried, of course I'm worried. They are two unshakable powers. Sima Yue said, but I've said it before, we are Heartbreak Valley's people. Whoever we touch, we will return the favor. Ha, seeing you like this, I don't think you're worried at all. He Dong looked at Sima Yue. Although she said she was scared, her expression didn't look scared at all. Can I take this as a compliment from Uncle He? Sima Yue said with a smile. You're still laughing. The Sage Pavilion and Wu Clan are not ordinary powers. You've offended both of them, how can you still laugh? You killed their people in front of everyone. It's the same as falling out with them. They will definitely find trouble with you. Xiao Hong said worriedly. I'll wait for them to come. Sima Yue said. How can you? Xiao Hong panicked. You didn't even bring anyone here. If they come to find you, how can you hide? Hong's right. He Dong said, in the armament city, I can protect your safety. But once you leave this place, even if we show up, they might not accept it. Then I'll have to trouble Uncle He to take care of me in the city. Sima Yue said. Aren't you worried about your life outside? He Dong looked at her calm expression. Why don't you stay here for a while? After we're done here, I'll get someone to send you back. They will still have to give face to the Armament Masters Guild. Won't that implicate the guild and other powers? Sima Yue said, Uncle He, you can protect our safety in the city. We're already very grateful. We can handle the rest on our own. The Wu Clan and Sage Pavilion have brought many people. Xiao Hong said. We don't need too many people. It's good as long as we're strong. Sima Yue said, however, if we really want to compete in numbers, it's hard to say who will lose. They remembered that she still had the King of the Rocks among her contracted beasts. If she summoned all the birds, it was hard to say who would have more birds. All right then. We'll go and appease those two forces to ensure your safety in the city. He Dong got up and prepared to leave. Sima Yue also stood up and bowed deeply to He Dong. Thank you, Uncle He. This, Uncle He, was the most affectionate she had ever called him. He Dong heard it, laughed twice, and asked people to take the people on the ground away. He came here first, and he still needed to pacify those two forces. Time was of the essence. After sending off the people from the Armament Master Guild, everyone returned to the living room. I thought you needed my help and I could sell you a favor. Now it seems like I don't need it. Mou sat on his own seat, and did not get up from the start to the end. Sima Yue did not know much about the Jun clan, but seeing him like this, she guessed that they would not be too bad. If you really want to help me, I can still provide you with this opportunity. Sima Yue said. Mou was speechless. Since when did he have to help someone? How could he do such a degrading thing? Yue, do you want to get the people from the valley to come over? Wei Ziqi asked. With Mou here, there's no need for anyone else, right? Sima Yue smiled at Mou, as if he would really help her. It's all because of me. Bai Xing said guiltily. I knew that if I came here it would cause trouble, but I still wanted to come here to take a look. This was the place where she used to be. Sima Yue saw him blaming himself, and the anger in her heart subsided. She said, we guessed that you had something to do here, but we didn't have the time to ask you. We didn't expect it to be like this. All right, you don't have to blame yourself for this. This isn't a problem just because you didn't go out. I once promised you that I would help you take revenge for the past. I wasn't just saying those words. But now isn't the right time, Bai Xing said. She did not have any spiritual energy. If she met with danger, she would not be able to protect herself. If she was injured, he would not be able to face his brothers in the valley, and even more so, he would not be able to face himself. She was like his family now. She was no longer the same. Don't worry. With Big Boss here, we will be fine. Sima Yue said. Big Boss? It's Mou. With a wave of his hand, he can easily crush them. Sima Yue explained. Humph, you didn't ask me. Mou said. Am I the kind of person who would casually make a move? Really? Then forget it. I'll think of a way myself. Sima Yue said. But I might be very busy during this period of time, so you'll have to taste the tea yourself. I originally said that if you help me, I'll give you some tea leaves that you haven't tasted before. Seems like there's no need for that. Anyway, you won't help me. Everyone was speechless. Your threat was too direct. Can't you be a little more technical? He was an almighty from the ghost realm. Would he accept your threat? But a certain someone just looked at Mou with a smile, as if it didn't matter if he took the bait or not. If it was someone else, or some other bait, Mou might really ignore it. But it had to be someone that he recently acknowledged. She even used tea leaves that he had never tasted before as bait. Although it was a simple threat, he just had to fall for it. Who asked her to be someone that he acknowledged? I'll protect your life. I don't care about anything else. Mou said. Deal. Sima patted the table lightly and said happily. Alright, old Bai. You don't have to worry. But, those people hurt old Bai. We can't just let it go like that. Little Seven said. How can we let it go like that? Sima said. But there's no use being anxious now. We have to get more information first. Know yourself and know your enemy. Only then can you win 100 battles. That's right. Wei Ziqi said. How many of those people came here? Who are they? How strong are they? We have to find out all of these. That's not easy. Just let the bees investigate. Little Seven said. I've already released the bees on the way back. When Old Bai was talking about these things, the bees had already received orders to investigate. Sima said. You already thought of this at that time. Little Seven looked at her with admiration. She knew it. How could you not care about Old Bai's matters? Bai Sheng's heart warmed. She looked so angry at that time, but she was still thinking for him. To be able to follow such a person, how lucky he was. Chapter 1248. When the discussion was almost done, Sima was caught by Mou to drink tea again. Please search. To see the most complete. Update the fastest. She rolled her eyes at him and said, Mou, tomorrow is the succession ceremony hall, let's forget about it today. I need to think about how I'm going to face those people tomorrow. What's so good about facing those people? Mou said disapprovingly, they're just some small fries. I'm just a small fry in your eyes, but in their eyes, I'm just a small fry. Sima said, this is not something that can be avoided just because you say so. Don't you have He Chendong to solve it for you? Uncle, he can only ask them not to kill me during this period of time, but it doesn't mean that they won't make things difficult for us tomorrow. Sima said. Then let the Jun family handle it. Mou said. Is the Jun family very strong? I can still protect you all. Why didn't you say so earlier? Then I won't have to think about how I'm going to spend tomorrow. Sima said. Can you have tea with me now? So this guy still hasn't forgotten about this tea. You just said that there's tea that I haven't tasted before. Mou had a different kind of obsession with tea. Since you can't forget about it, I'll let you have a taste. I've kept this for a long time. Sima said. Let me tell you, this tea tastes better the longer it is stored. It's been many years since I discovered this tea, but I couldn't bear to drink it. Today, I'll give it to you. What do you think? Not bad, right? What kind of tea is this? Poo or tea? Sima said. This tea is different from the ones we've had before. You can slowly taste it later. She took out a set of purple sand-covered tea set. After boiling the water, she used a tea knife to pry off a piece of poo or tea and waited for the water to boil. When the water was boiling, she poured the boiling water into the cup, washed the tea, poured another cup for him, and handed the teacup to him. Mou had seen her take out various tea sets during this period of time. Now that he saw her take out another tea set, he felt that he had wasted a lot of good tea in the past. Fortunately, he had met her on this trip to the mortal realm, allowing him to comprehend what the true way of tea was. Otherwise, he might not be able to find the essence of the way of tea in this lifetime. Anaheim, who only knew how to find good tea for him, was really nothing compared to her. Although most of the time her purpose was obvious, it wasn't disgusting at all. The others watched as the two of them drank tea and chatted in the gazebo. From time to time, Simiyu's laughter could be heard. They thought that it was a good thing that she knew how to make tea. Otherwise, not to mention finding a helper, her little life would be in danger. The next morning, Sima Yue woke up to pack her things. When she opened her eyes, the first thought that came to her mind was how long her punishment would last. At first, he thought that sleeping every day was fine, but now he felt that it was a waste of time. After sighing on the bed for a while, she got out of bed, tidied up, and went out. The others were already ready. Because there were too many people and the weapon refining city was relatively small, everyone had to walk to the big square of the Alchemist Guild. Originally, this ceremony was going to be held in the Alchemist Guild, but because there were too many people, they had to change it to an open-air square. However, this square was not far from where Sima Yue and the others lived. It was only half an hour's walk. Sima Yue and the others arrived at the gate and saw the Jun family head leading a group of people from the street. She took a glance, but Mou was not there. Miss Yue, what a coincidence. Jun Wei cupped his hands towards Sima Yue and smiled. Jun family head, what a coincidence. Sima Yue returned the greeting. They were already at the entrance of her place. This coincidence was really good. Since everyone is going to the square, why don't we go together? Jun Wei said. Sima Yue remembered that Mou said that the Jun family would help them block those people today. She guessed that he had specially instructed them. All right, Jun family head, please. Please. Maybe it was because of Mou's instructions, but Jun Wei looked much more approachable this time. He chatted with her along the way, and did not have the faint coldness that he had the other day. Why didn't Mou come? Sima Yue asked. He said that he doesn't like to watch the show, so he won't go. Jun Wei said. Thank you, Miss Yue, for taking care of him these 2 days. If not, I would have been so busy these few days that I would have fainted. Sima Yue understood the meaning behind his words. She thought that he was relieved, but she had to drink water for a few days. When they arrived at the entrance of the square, she felt a thick murderous intent surrounding them. She raised her head and saw a group of people looking at them with murderous intent. Sima Yue recognized their clothes. They were the Wu family and the Sage Pavilion. What made her a little surprised was that Nailin Lan was also in this group of people. With her status, how could she attend this ceremony? And when Nailin Lan saw her this time, the hatred in her eyes seemed to have deepened. It was as if she had killed her sweetheart. It seemed that there was indeed a piece of news from the bees. A girl's sweetheart had been killed on the streets. That girl couldn't really be her, right? Jun Wei saw that Sima Yue looked at Nailin Lan in confusion and said, She is a newly selected holy maiden from the Sage Pavilion. I heard that she realized her own path in the immortal land and was promoted as an exception. Her path? Sima Yue laughed. Nailin Lan's path was not complete. The most important word, heart, had run into Han Miao Shuang's body. She still laughed when she thought about it. She seems to hate you a lot. Jun Wei said, Could it be that genius beauties can't coexist with each other? Patriarch Jun, you think too much. Sima Yue said, It's just that I accidentally killed her sweetheart that day. She wants to pounce on me and tear me apart. You killed her sweetheart? Then she should come and tear you apart. Jun Wei agreed. Oh my, Patriarch Jun, do you think it's not lively enough? On the other side, Nailin Lan saw Sima Yue. Her heart was filled with hatred that she had never felt before. She hated her even more than when she exposed Mu Rong's two-timing. If they weren't here, she would have killed her immediately. She had just been brought to this continent by her master when she met Mu Bai, who was patrolling from the main hall. From then on, her heart fell on him. For so many years, she worked hard to improve herself and cultivate so that she could enter the main hall and see him often. Because of this, even when she knew that Sima Yue was here, she didn't continue to kill her. But she killed her sweetheart, and it happened just 2 months after she entered the cabinet. She was so close to happiness, but once she appeared, her happiness was shattered, just like when she was a young girl. This Sima Yue was her life's nemesis. This book came from Chapter 1249. Crazy Wife, 5th Miss Godly Doctor. Chapter 1249. Failure to Kill, Support Seeking, Update Date. The more Nailin Lan thought about it, the more she couldn't suppress the anger in her body, and her body subconsciously wanted to rush over. Lanta. The woman beside her grabbed her arm. Not today. Today was the Armament Masters Guild's inauguration ceremony. Whoever caused trouble at this time would be going against the Armament Masters Guild. Otherwise, when He Qindong came to find them yesterday, they wouldn't have suppressed this matter. Master. Nailin Lan bit her lips, her eyes filled with tears, looking pitiful. Don't worry, they won't be able to escape. The woman looked coldly at Sima Yue. Daring to kill my nephew, I will take revenge no matter what. But not today. If we make a move today, not only will we fall out with the Armament Masters Guild, we will also cause conflicts with other powers, so don't be rash. Nailin Lan nodded and softly replied, I understand, Master. She only recognized this master after coming to the General Pavilion, so they weren't very close, so she didn't dare to be impudent in front of her. I didn't expect them to be with the Jun family. The Jun family is protecting them. The Jun family rarely contacts other powers, so how did they get involved? Wu Gaofei said with a sullen face. The Jun family can protect them today, but after today, I'll see who can protect them. Wu Qing's father, Wu Gaofei's brother, Wu Gaoyan said. He must take revenge for his son's death. Sima Yue saw that the other party hated them, but didn't dare to provoke them and was a little surprised by the Jun family's strength. In her opinion, even if they couldn't kill them, they could at least threaten them. But they were standing still, which could only mean one thing: they were afraid of the Jun family. But the outside world didn't know much about the inner regions, so she didn't know what the Jun family's status was. What made her more curious was the relationship between the Jun family and Mou. She could see that the Jun family was indeed human, but from Mou's words, the Jun family was subordinate to him. They won't come, let's go in. Jun Wei said to Sima Yue. As soon as they entered, someone immediately came up to greet them and brought them to their designated seats. Coincidentally, the Wu clan and the Sage Pavilion were right in front of them. With their good eyesight as cultivators, they could see that Sima Yue and Jun Wei were chatting happily. They were not disturbed by their killing intent at all. In fact, Sima Yue and Jun Wei were also talking about them, but their expressions were too relaxed, making them think that they did not care at all. Aren't you worried at all? Jun Wei looked at Sima Yue and asked. What's there to worry about? Sima Yue said, in the city, the Armament Masters Guild said that they will ensure our safety. I mean, after we leave the city, Jun Wei said. The Armament Masters Guild was very close to her, so he knew that she would be fine in the Armament City. What he was curious about was, how was she going to escape after leaving this place? We don't know who will kill who after we leave the city. Sima Yue smiled. You sure are confident. As far as I know, you don't have any spirit energy now, right? If you are alone, you will be in danger. Jun Wei said. It is a little dangerous. Sima Yue admitted. But it was not certain who would kill who. Those Bird Clan elders were all half a step into the Paragon rank, and the other party did not seem to have that many experts. Jun Wei saw that Sima Yue was not worried at all. He did not know if she was pretending to be calm or if she really had something to rely on. But no matter which one it was, being able to remain calm in such a situation was already very rare. After a while, the coronation ceremony officially began. The surroundings quietened down. They stopped talking and watched the ceremony. There was nothing special about this ceremony. It was nothing more than a speech, a coronation and so on. But after a lot of trouble, it still took 2 to 3 hours. After the ceremony ended, it was almost noon. The afternoon was free time for everyone to have fun. There was a banquet and program in the evening. But Sima Yue was not very interested in these. She symbolically attended the banquet and left early. She did not expect that she would be blocked at the exit. I knew you would leave early. Nailin Lan was standing outside the door. When she heard movement, she turned around and looked at her. You really know me well. Sima Yue shrugged. She was not surprised. She did not see Nailin Lan in the banquet hall. She knew that she must be waiting for her outside. You have guts. You clearly know that we want to kill you, but you still dare to come out alone. Nailin Lan said. She looked at Sima Yue, who was dressed as a woman. Other than hatred, there was also jealousy in her eyes. When she was in the immortal land, she heard that she was a woman. Now that she saw her with her own eyes, she realized that she was actually so beautiful. She could not help but be jealous and want to destroy her beauty. Sima Yue shrugged. I have always been gutsy. It's not the first time, you know. You are still so annoying. Nailin Lan saw the indifference on her face and the hatred in her heart exploded. She could not control her spirit energy and attacked her. Sima Yue was still in her original position. She watched as her spirit energy attacked her quickly. She did not move an inch. Bang dash, when the spirit energy neared, Sima Yue's body emitted a light blue ray of light, reflecting Nailin Lan's spirit energy back. Nailin Lan dodged to the side and the spirit energy landed on the ground. It made a loud sound. The guards at the door heard the movement and came out. They quickly separated the two of them. But from their formation, they were protecting Sima Yue at the back. Young Miss Nailin, fighting is prohibited in the city. Captain Hao walked out from the back and said to Nailin Lan. Nailin Lan saw the way they were standing and knew that there was no hope of killing her tonight. The Armament Masters Guild was protecting her. If not, how would she dare to be so savage? Young Miss Nailin, if you are like this, it will be difficult for the Sage Pavilion, right? Captain Hao reminded her. Of course, Nailin Lan knew that she could not do anything to her today. She had snuck out just now. If her master and the others found out, not only would they not be able to kill her, they would also be reprimanded by the sect. Sima Yue, you better not step out of Armament City for the rest of your life. If not, I will kill you with my own hands. Oh wait. Sima Yue smiled. But we won't know who will be the one killing who by then. Nailin Lan glared daggers at her. Then she went in unwillingly. Captain Hao turned to Sima Yue and cupped his hands, saying, Young Miss Yue, it is not safe in the city. Let us send you back. Sima Yue smiled, saying, No need. I'm not far from here. I will walk for a while. Captain Hao wanted to say that this was the president's idea. But seeing Mou walking over, he swallowed his words. Chapter 1250. Crazy Wife, 5th Miss Godly Doctor. Chapter 1250. Night Battle Update. Date. Sima Yue saw Mou coming over and was a little surprised. This guy didn't come in the day. What was he doing here at this time? Why are you here? To pick you up. To pick me up. I went to your place to look for you. Seeing that you weren't back yet, I came over to take a look. Mou said. Sima Yue turned back to look at the banquet hall. Bei Gong Tang and the rest walked out from the door. Yue, how is it? I told you that my armor is not bad. Fatty Chu smiled and said to Sima Yue. It's enough to deal with Nailin Lan, but if it's an attack from a stronger person, it might not be useful. Bei Gong Tang said. When they came out, they guessed that Nailin Lan was waiting outside. Sima Yue said to come out and try, so everyone stayed at the door to watch. Seeing that it was only Nailin Lan, they didn't show themselves. If it's useful, then it's useful. Sima Yue said, Who knows when my spiritual energy will recover? I hope it'll be soon. Bei Gong Tang said, I saw the Wu clan and Sage Pavilion's expressions when they looked at us today. They were all fierce and powerful, not easy to deal with. Alright, let's not stand here. Let's go back first. Sima Yue said. When they returned to their place, Sima Yue let everyone rest while she stayed behind to talk to Mou. Mou, why did you come to pick us up tonight? Sima Yue asked. Mou looked at Sima Yue. It seemed that she didn't believe what he said just now. I heard that someone snuck in. I was worried that you would be in danger. Mou said. Someone snuck in? More powerful than the Jun clan? Sima Yue was surprised. If it was such a powerful person, why would he need to sneak in? If he could sneak in, it meant that he couldn't be exposed. Thinking about the death of the previous president, Sima Yue guessed that it wouldn't be smooth sailing. In the morning, she was still wondering if there would be any problems during the ceremony. She didn't expect it to go so smoothly. He Qindong and the others must have done a lot to isolate the hidden dangers outside. I also happened to hear it when I was resting in the woods outside the city. Mou said, although I don't know those people, I can tell that they want to sneak in and do something. They also said that the security during the day was too tight, so they took advantage of the dinner party when everyone was relaxed to come in. Do you know who they are? Sima Yue asked. I don't know, and I'm not interested to know. If it wasn't because you guys are still in the city, I wouldn't even mention this matter. Mou said. It really suited his personality. No, I have to tell Xiaohong and the others. Sima Yue said. She took out a brush, ink, paper, and inkstone and wrote a small piece of paper. She let a few scarlet bees out and passed the small piece of paper to them, asking them to bring the message over. She and Mou waited in the courtyard. She didn't know if the bees had brought the news. Bang! The sound of fighting could be heard from the Armament Masters Guild. Sima Yue looked towards that direction. The spiritual energy's light seemed to have lit up the entire night. Bai Sheng jumped out from somewhere and injected spiritual energy into the lake beside the pavilion. The ripples of the array enveloped the courtyard. Seeing Sima Yue and Mou in the pavilion, he flew over. What happened? Fatty Chu and the others came out from their houses and looked towards the direction of the Armament Masters Guild. Why did they suddenly start fighting? Wei Ziqi frowned. If they didn't come back earlier, they would have been embroiled in the battle. Seeing the power of those spiritual techniques, they would have died without leaving a trace. The people fighting are so strong. Ouyang Fei said, if it wasn't for the protection of the array, I'm afraid our courtyard wouldn't be able to hold on. Yue is at the pavilion. Let's go over and take a look. Everyone came to the pavilion and saw Bai Sheng inside. What exactly is going on? Why did they start fighting? Bei Gongtang was the last to come up and asked. Someone sneaked in. Sima Yue said. Who is it? Thinking about the previous president's death, it's not hard to guess who it is. Sima Yue said, but we still don't know their identity. Can this array withstand this power? The people fighting there were too strong. Who knew if it would be unable to withstand a few more attacks? This array was specially set up by the 100 changing doors in the late Qing dynasty. There shouldn't be a problem. Unless there's a battle between high-level paragon experts. Bai Sheng said. This was his lover's courtyard. If he said it, everyone would naturally believe him. Bang dash, the clash of spiritual techniques caused the entire city to tremble. Luckily we came back early. If not, it would be dangerous. Fatty Chu patted his chest with a face full of fear. The others nodded in agreement. Luckily Sima Yue didn't like to attend these banquets. She left after showing her face. If not, who knew what would happen to them if they were trapped inside? I think Uncle He and the rest should have made preparations. Even if they didn't come back, we shouldn't be in big trouble. Sima Yue said uncertainly. But it's best that we came back early. Bai Sheng said. Sima Yue looked outside worriedly. I wonder how the situation is over there. In such an intense battle, she didn't even dare to release her scarlet bees. She guessed that once they left the protection of the array, they would all die. It was also because of this that they didn't say anything to help. Because in such a battle situation, it wasn't something they could participate in. The battle continued for an entire night. It wasn't until noon on the second day that the noise outside gradually became softer. It stopped. Fatty Chu came to the side of the pavilion and looked in that direction. The noise is gone. The battle should have ended. Wait a while before going out. Let my bees go out and see the situation first. Sima Yue said. She released her scarlet bees and let them see the situation outside. When they returned, she said, the battle has ended. The Union won. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. It was good that the Union won. If they lost, it would be troublesome for them to leave. Bai Sheng went to turn off the array. Everyone went out and ran towards the Union. The battle that night was really intense. Some of the buildings along the way were destroyed. Only those with arrays were preserved. She came to the banquet hall last night. There were many corpses outside. It seemed like the battle last night wasn't easy. She saw Xiaohong and a few men talking about something and walked over. Xiao Hong saw her and asked the people beside her to leave. She walked over and asked, Yue, are you guys okay? We're fine. Sima Yue saw that her face was pale. Are you hurt? You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.